What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in again. Sorry for the delay. We've had a lot going on with the camp out and just, making moves around Texas, you know what I mean? Just doing stuff. So we're back. Good times. Welcome to May. It's already fucking May. Wow. It's ridiculous, man. This year's already almost halfway over. Have you had a chance to do any bike stuff yet? Is the weather clear enough for you and you're part of your neck of the woods to do anything? So I hope so. I hope you got something planned, you know what I mean? Because so far this year's been pretty good for us as far as traveling and riding. So I hope you're doing the same thing and just enjoying your motorcycle and all the things it can provide for you. So and in order to keep that bike on the road, you guys should check out Texas Performance MC. My dude Mark down there handles all my service work and performance upgrades, and he can do the same thing to your bike. Check him out at texasperformancemc.com as well as on Instagram and Facebook. They do just about anything you need done to your bike, except for maybe welding big wheel bagger necks on. You know what I mean? So for the most part, Mark's going to be able to handle anything you need for your bike, any questions you may have. So just hit him up. Let him know you heard about it on the podcast, and it's going to be a good time from there. I swear. I feel weird. I haven't done these intros in a while, and I'm just kind of sucking at it. But we're going to get through this together, I hope. I want to thank John Jessup, Dream Rides out there in Stockton, California. John does just about everything under that roof, from bike sales, full service bills, dyno tuning, and just about every part you need. He's got the ability to get you pretty much the next day or that day, whatever the case may be. But the other good thing about John up there is he's got www.teamdreamrides.com, which is it's a website about his shop and everything, but it's also an online store where you can log in, check out all the stuff that they have on there for sale. And I'm almost guaranteed there's going to be shit that you want for your bike. So check it out, and then you use Fast Life code at the end or at the checkout, and you're going to save 10%, which is a nice little chunk of change that's going to help you get that bike dialed in the way you want it. So check it out, check John out, and fucking rock on. There you go. I also want to thank Kevin at Big Bear Performance, the Olin's master. Check him out, bigbearperformance.com. Give him a phone call at 909-478-7788. Kevin will take that phone call, and he'll talk to you and let you know all you need to know about Olin suspension, how it's going to help correct some things on your bike, make it better, how you're going to enjoy it more. So let him give you that insight. I do have my rear shocks now, the Olin's piggybacks, which they're like so beautiful. They're just so beautiful on my bike. I'm scared to ride it hard. I don't know, man. It's a weird thing. Never had such nice suspension on my bike. So that was almost fucked that word up. But anyway, check them out. bigbearperformance.com. Give Kevin a call. Let him fill you in on what that Olin's can do for your bike. So check him out. I also want to thank painthuffer.com, Paint Huffer Metal Flake, and also his actual name is Brian. So I want to thank Brian. So, there you go, Brian. Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram. You can see a lot of really amazing artists putting out some great work. Maybe you can't swing a Fast Life garage paint job because I'm so just so busy, whatever. Not really. But anyway, there's a lot of badass artists. Maybe you can find someone that has a style that fits the way you want to dial your bike in. Or maybe you want to just try this shit on your own. And that's where you can go to painthuffer.com and order some flakes and tapes and other things that might help you make the transition or the attempt to be a custom painter. It's a good place to start. So check them out, painthuffer.com. I also want to thank you guys for supporting us, man, supporting this podcast, the Patreon guys, and really appreciate you guys doing it. We have a lot of trips planned this year that are going to be podcast related, and that Patreon is going to help make all that stuff possible. It's going to help us do less phone podcasts and more in-person interviews. And, I just want you guys to know that money is going towards this podcast. It's going towards the bike stuff that we're going to be doing to bring content for this podcast. So, continue to support it. If you guys haven't, go to our website, fastlifegarage.com, front page. There's a link. Just $1. It's all it takes, man. $1 really makes a difference if a lot of you guys do it. So anyway, I appreciate you supporting it. So even if you're just listening, share it on your Instagram, your Facebook. Also, if you could, man, follow our podcast page on Instagram, The Fast Life Podcast, and stay up to date with all the shit going on. Whew, man, Good times, right? What Hang 'em High say? Good times and hate crimes or some shit like that. Anyway, this podcast is with Bike and Bird. You guys follow them? Bike and Bird. They're it's actually just Jeremy. He's a vlogger, you know, a moto-vlogger to be exact. And I'm pretty, you know, I like watching his videos. I watched quite a few of them. I think they're really great. And I've been wanting to talk to a moto-vlogger for a while, and you know, here it is. I got a chance to do it. So check him out, Bike and Bird on Instagram. Also, he has a YouTube channel where you can see all his content, and he's also a guest or a co-host on I want to say the Between Two Wheels podcast. He's a very professional dude. So I'll let you hear from him. So check it out. I'm gonna stop now. I'm just talking way too fucking much.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
All right, here we are. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Just trying to stay dry. Probably much better than you're doing.
When I left Dallas yesterday, I was this whole class thing was supposed to be from yesterday, so the 1st through the 5th, and I just knew I couldn't spend the whole time down here, so I was like, I'm gonna go for 2 days, get back to the shop, get back to work, and then woke up in the morning. It's like they planned for it to be rainy. You know what I mean? And it just, you know, I rode all the way down here yesterday, didn't get to drop of rain. Partied all night in San Antonio, no problems, and now I'm headed home, and it's like
now let's rain.
Yeah. So
you're gonna stay wet most of the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm actually, as soon as I leave here, I'm gonna go up to San Marcos, and I think I'm having dinner with Lindahl, Paul, and his family and stuff. Okay. So see how they're doing. Yeah,
I've been talking with them recently to get stuff on the new bike.
Yeah. So we were kind of talking about, you really haven't got a chance to ride this new Road Glide yet, huh?
Not yet. I mean, it's got 1,200 miles on it, which is nothing. That most of that was done prior to any of the quote unquote performance upgrades. I did take this style bike out to Big Bend though, so we did get to enjoy the stock version quite a bit. But as far as this completed version, no. We are gonna be doing about 300 miles this weekend though, so.
Yeah, supposedly, yeah. Shit, I love it. It's like the other bikes are always fun to get. You know what I mean? They're fun to ride, man. But like these Road Glides and just the touring models in general, I mean, you can just still have fun on them. You can have fun, and you can travel, and you can take the wife, and you can do whatever you. I mean, you got the full grandpa edition.
Yeah, so. It's the Geezer Glide Special for sure. That I showed to my coworkers, and one of the girls said, "This is the coolest old man's bike I've ever seen." I was like, "Well, that's pretty much the goal for it." So it's really hard to get away from the tour pack once you try it, because especially with me being a motovlogger, like I don't want to leave my helmet out on the bike because it's literally over $1,000 worth of gear just sitting there. And, you know, dealing with helmet locks and everything like that, even if I lock it up, they can still steal the camera off of it. Yeah. So having that tour pack, man, it's a godsend for us motovloggers. We can fit 2 full-size helmets in there, even with all the shit on my helmet.
That's
you can
crazy.
still fit me and my wife's helmet back there with no issues. So you really get spoiled. And I feel like the quick disconnect mount on it was kind of a waste of money because I don't feel like I'm ever going to take it off.
Yeah. I plan on doing a trip this year with my wife somewhere. I think we were going to try to do that Four Corners rally. Yeah. And she hasn't, since I started riding FXRs and Dynas, she hasn't rode with me much. Yeah. You know, it's just the smaller bikes. When we first met, I had a big wheel bagger. So it was like tour pack and everything.
She got spoiled.
So she got spoiled. And then I get to these smaller bikes. I remember the first time we rode the FXR, we went like across Dallas, and no fairing, so she's not used to having all that wind hitting us and stuff, and I'm just hauling ass like a kid in a candy store. Like, fuck, this is so fun. We get back to her house, and she's like having a panic attack on the back, like just freaking out from all the wind hitting her and shit. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, my wife took a few rides on the Dyna. We did put a sissy bar in the back of it, and that helped, but she's got such a bad back that literally anything over 20 minutes on that bike, she was just done. This one, she's fallen asleep on the back of it, so she's really loving it because, I mean, with me holding as many events and stuff as I do, I was gone pretty much every weekend during the riding season. So we missed out on a lot of weekends together. But with this one, she can pretty much go wherever she wants anytime we go to an event or something like that, unless I decide to take the smaller bike, which, you know, is going to start happening.
What was the plan when, I mean, I saw some of the videos and some of the podcasts that you do with the, what's the name of it? Between Two Wheels podcast.
Between Two Wheels, yeah.
Which is a great podcast, by the way. Like, I was listening to it and I was like, God damn, like, they're so much better at statistics than I am. I'm like, what's that place? And I'm snapping. I'm like, what the fuck is that called? But no, so it's like, it's fun whenever I'll listen to like yours or, you know, some of the, like Cycle Source, you know, some of those have more, like, y'all do y'all's homework and bring it like notes and shit. And I'm trying to be more responsible like that.
I mean, everyone has their niche, you know, like I feel like we've kind of fit that niche of like, we've got the good amount of fuckery, but yet we still somewhat kind of know what we're talking about. And the three personalities, me, Uncle Ken, and Roadblock, we really mesh together well because Uncle Ken, even though you wouldn't know it by looking at him, he knows his shit and he does a lot of research. He's really into that. I'm a numbers guy. I mean, I'm an analyst by profession. So anytime we talk about, you know, economics or anything like that or any sort of study, I nerd out over that kind of stuff and really try to paint the picture as far as the truth as opposed to what the article was trying to say.
Yeah.
And Roadblock has a very managerial style. He's definitely more of a big picture kind of guy. Yeah. And he knows how to run a business like no other. So he has a nameplate. It says the fucker in charge of you fucking fucks. So that's, I mean, it really works, but we have been putting in a lot, or I say he's been putting in a lot of work. Yeah. I told him right from the beginning that I'm so busy with my business and my channel and everything like that, I'm pretty much going to have to just show up and talk. Yeah. And he's going to have to run a good portion of it. You know,
what's kind of cool about it is that you being close enough to these other guys that also have media outlets. Yes. And y'all can all come in and play y'all's role in it. You know what I mean? So, you know, that it brings a good dynamic. And I mean, with this whole podcast medium, I guess is a term to use. It's like, there's so many different ones. I listen to like 5 or 6 different moto podcasts. Yeah. You know what I mean? Some of them are like adventure riding, which I want to do, but don't plan to do it anytime soon. But and everybody seems to have a different kind of vibe, and it's cool. You know?
They all work.
It's always, it goes back to my old analogy. Like everybody, I've heard people question like, oh man, you know, or when they tag, you're the only moto podcast I listen to, or you see it on someone else. I'm like, man, there's some good ones out there. Yeah. Like, this isn't like a loyalist thing. Like, hey, there's plenty of media out there for everybody, so check it all out. Yeah, it's like it's you know, what is it like? Do you want a Whataburger or an In-N-Out or a McDonald's? Like, they all kind of taste a little different. So, what do you feel like today? You know, like there's options, and that's what, you know, this all is about, right?
Yeah, I mean, I subscribe to you guys, Motorcycle Men, and then I'll go completely the opposite of the spectrum. And I listen to a podcast called Star Talk, which is all about like astrophysics and space and shit.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, I would listen to that too.
Depending on, like you said, what type of mood I'm in, I will depend on what podcast I play.
It's weird because like I'll get to a point, and my friends tell me this sometimes. Like we'll have a bike night, and they'll come up to me and go, "I'm sick of listening to you today. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you anymore." You know what I mean? I'm like, and it's the same thing. It's like I'll listen to like my buddy Danger Dan's podcast. I'll binge it for like 2 or 3 days, and I'll be like, okay, I don't want to hear any more of this shit.
I can't listen to your voice anymore. Yeah. I feel that same way with myself sometimes. Like I'll be editing videos. I'm like, oh my God, I can't listen to myself anymore. I gotta go do something else.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. It's like when I first started doing this stuff, I was a lot more self-conscious about it. So I would listen to it and then I wouldn't want to release things because I mean, I sound like an idiot. Yeah. So now I just learned to not just
don't care about
like I'll go back and I'll jump through and half-ass, you know, kind of like clean the audio up a little bit. And then whatever I said, whatever you said, like that shit's going out there. And
stuck on the tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't agree.
Know. I don't have a lot of production to mine. You know what I mean? Like as far as like I want to do more, you know what I mean? And I think that's the thing with all of us, you know, whether it's you with your vlogging or, you know, the podcast or anything, it's like the more time you can dedicate to this stuff, it kind of is like, it's exciting because like, man, like if I get this much time and I could implement this into this type of content into it, it's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking about like if you were able to dedicate a full 40 hours a week to it, what you could produce, it's it's kind of a pipe dream, but it's nice to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is kind of like that, you know, but it's a weird thing in this whole thing right now, because I'm seeing a lot of podcasts coming up, which a lot of them I like, and you know, and everybody says this, and this is the thing that I've learned, and I think that you guys have as well. It's just that the consistency is what a lot of people are looking for. Like they don't want to invest into liking you for 2 months until you're just like, fuck it, I don't feel like doing it anymore, you know?
Yeah, so, we recently made the switch to go weekly too, and it's a struggle. It really has been. We went from recording once a month to every other week, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you pack that on top of already busy schedules, on top of having to get 3 people's schedules to line up, it's a madhouse. This week has actually been our most productive week because we actually have our show notes done and completed. Mm-hmm. We had them done on Tuesday night, and we record on Fridays. Usually we're like Friday at lunchtime, we're still trying to
get shit together,
get everything together. But this time, it really depends too on what's happening, because we do a lot of like current events and stuff like that. Yeah. So when there's nothing happening, we kind of have to, you know, venture out. But this week coming up, we got a lot of stories out. But like you said, that consistency is key. Yeah. And we're actually going on June 22nd is actually our 1-year anniversary.
Nice.
Yeah, so we've been doing it it blows my mind to think that we're only a month away from 1 year. It feels like 2 months, but it's been tough. Yeah. It definitely has been tough. And then, I mean, with the YouTube channel, it's always a shit show, especially when not only you have to coincide with schedules, but also decent riding weather.
Do y'all do, when y'all do that, do y'all do a video with it, or is it just audio? We're
in the stages of making it video. I think we've got like 3 or 4 videos up on our channel right now. We're struggling with consistency, getting the video to not look like ass, getting the audio to match up with the video.
Yeah.
I told the guys, I'm like, we could just, throw up a screen capture and capture whatever the cameras get, but if we're going to do it, we might as well do it right. So we've had to trash, I think, 3 or 4 episodes already. The audio is fine, which is great, because we salvaged the audio. The audio is sounding so much better now that we upgraded the equipment, but we're going to we still got some work to do on the video. But that's the plan, is to do audio and video. Mm-hmm. Mostly because we want to be able to show the audience what we're talking about. Going back to, like I said, we do current events. We talk about electric bikes and stuff like that. Yeah. We want to be able to show the people what these bikes look like that we're talking about. So that's why we're gone towards the visual platform.
I want to do that too. I just realized the more I look into doing it, and you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's like, I don't want to just do it just to do it. Like I want it to be like, oh, this is good shit. You know what I mean? So when you look into what it takes to produce a good video, it's like I need someone to physically be behind their, like with I think they got that Sling Studio type thing now where you can manage a couple different camera angles and stuff like that. And then someone that can literally sit there and set everything up. We just talk and do what we do. And then they can mash the fucking audio with the video, put it all together, change things, throw a website or a picture up when it's relevant. Yeah, that's a full-time job.
It is. It absolutely 110% is. And we talked about that, and I was like, there's no way I can take that on. My plate's already full. Yeah. And the problem we had with the cameras is we're using GoPros because we're in such a tight studio. We need that wide angle. Yeah. And when I'm recording on the computer, GoPros, when they're running through that computer, records in what's called VBR, which is variable bit rate. It's the same thing that phones record in. And the problem with that is it wants to get the smoothest picture. It's not really caring about the audio. So with that being said, it can very minusculely speed up or slow down the video, which when you're watching the video on your phone or something like that, you don't realize. But when you're talking about recording over the course of 55 minutes, your audio could be off by as much as a minute towards the end. Damn. So it can really screw things up.
So, I mean, could you do like just a more normal mic setup and record the audio separately and just use like a little thing?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And try to get the mouths right. Like
absolutely. And that's would be the most consistent way. But that goes back to the time it takes to edit.
If you had to actually edit any of the video itself. Yeah. That would be time consuming.
And that's the issue we're having is we'd have to have 2 or 3 separate video sources and then match it up to the audio source.
Yeah, I feel like depending on how your table, I mean, with you having 3 guests, you kind of need that, that Joe Rogan-esque where you got like the view of the table with you sitting across, and then when you're talking, the one behind Joe, and then back and forth, and then just brings it,
Yeah, we're only running 2 right now. One camera captures me and Ken, and the other camera captures Roadblock. But I mean, even 2 videos, especially if we run 4K, that's a shit ton of files. Clipping together, it's a lot of space, and it's just a lot of time because you're talking, like I said, 45, 55-minute episodes. Oof. It's definitely time consuming.
Yeah, that's a thought. So what motivated you to get into the motovlog, spectrum?
So I actually was doing videos prior to motovlogging. I've always been into videos back since I was a kid. I was that kid that would take my mom's, camcorder out, that recorded on the VHS tapes.
Are you chasing skaters around?
No, I was a skater kid, but by that time the cameras had kind of advanced. But I grew up on a ranch, so I would just go out and try to film wildlife and shit like that. Really cool. White shit. But I also grew up racing motocross, so when I kind of stumbled upon the whole genre of motovlogging, it just clicked. I'm like, I have all of the equipment I need to record these videos. I have all the skills I need to do to produce these videos. I love riding. It'll give me reason to go out and ride more. Why the hell not? Yeah. Because, I mean, probably a year or 2 before I started motovlogging, I was actually in videography full time. I actually worked for a company called Spantastic Media, where we would basically travel the country and cover national paintball events, which sounds ridiculous, but it's actually a pretty big sport that brings.
I was
in a
listening
lot of
to
money.
that Joe Rogan podcast he did with Be Real, and he was talking about how the guy from Cypress Hill was like big into that paintball world, and all kinds of big celebrities are into that shit.
Yeah. I've played paintball with Tim Duncan.
For real?
Yeah, I've gotten to meet Waka Flocka. I met him in Florida. Yeah. I also met what's his name? The crazy alligator guy from Wild Boys and Jackass and all that. The guy that does the snakes and shit.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Not Chris Pontius, but I've partied with him in Florida. It brings in a lot of people for sure, and it's a big money industry, but that's the main reason why I got out, because I also like playing. Yeah. And it is expensive. And I enjoy my toys, so I would rather enjoy my toys than throw money down a sport that's not going to get me anywhere.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool already having that background. I mean, it seems like that's a much better transition than someone that's been riding forever and then it's like, man, like I need to learn how to take videos and stuff. So
absolutely. Really the only struggle was finding the creativeness to it, is how to make just riding around town interesting. Yeah. But the technical portion, the videos, the editing, it was all already second nature to me.
See, I have a close friend that kind of does our bike night, and he's one of my closer friends I ride with, and he's really into like he rides the bus to work every day because he lives in North Dallas, and it's cheaper because he works downtown, lives in Frisco, so it's like a 30-mile drive, but it's solid traffic. So it's cheaper just to ride the bus every day to work and just sit there. And so while he's riding the bus, he just watches YouTube videos, and he finds like cool ass, guys taking trips and edits videos and stuff. And so he sends them to me. He's like, dude, check this out. This is badass. And then he gets me all hyped up like, yeah, dude, we should do it. And then like when I rode to Cali a couple months ago, it's like I had just bought that Hero 7, the black one.
Great camera.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's so good.
And I had the creative ideas in my head, but then when I okay, there's the shot or there's the angle or there's the scene, I'm like, I don't feel like stopping the bike.
Exactly. That is literally the hardest part with any sort of motorcycle adventure. Like, that's why you really have to pay respect to Adam Sandoval for just sticking to it and taking the time. I watched his Arkansas video just the other day, and I'm sitting there like, man, he had to set up the camera, ride back, turn around, ride past the camera, go turn around, go back, pick up the camera. Like, it's the amount of time that goes behind just that little 5-second shot. And then especially like with the drone, I've had one day where I'm like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to do it right. And man, it was a 12-hour day, because we'd pull up into like Bandera, and I would tell the group, because once you get outside of town, you can't call anybody. You
Yeah.
don't have, you're way outside of Cena range.
Yeah.
So I would have to say, okay, I'm going to take off, start a timer for 10 minutes. When that hits 10 minutes, you take off. That way I know whenever I pull off, I have 10 minutes before they come through. So I would leave and find a spot that I liked. I'd pull off the road. I'd get my drone set up real quick. I would have my timer going too, so I knew when they were coming. Throw the drone up, get a shot of them going by, fly the drone back to me, pack up, and by then they're already 5-10 minutes ahead of me. So I was basically riding by myself the whole day. So that that kind of takes out the whole fun of it anyways. Granted, it was a badass video and still one of my favorite videos to date, but it's like, God, is it?
Well, that drone footage just brings another more cinematicness to the
it's a whole
video.
Level. Yeah. And it's funny because I just recently upgraded my drone and I've used it twice. I think
real.
It's just such a pain in the ass to throw it up. And what's funny is the drone I upgraded to, I bought it because it's faster than my older one, but it's that having to separate yourself from the group. Or the other option would be is to pull the whole group over and then throw it up and say, all right, everyone go up there and turn around and come back. It's like, unless your whole group is on the same page of, we're out here to make this video. Yeah. You're the asshole that's holding up the group.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, that's what, and a lot of the reason why I was doing that trip other than working and trying to do podcasts was I was supposed to ride with Adam Sandoval through the Angel's Crest. Yeah. So my thing was got the GoPro. I'm going to go ride with the master at this shit and see how he does it. And basically I wanted to see how he did it. And then, my thing is I want to figure out how to do my shit differently. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not that everybody's not trying to, we're all trying to do that shit, but some things just work. You know what I mean? Like some setups. So I ain't gonna lie, I was really against wanting to set the GoPro up on the helmet, right? Because I was always like, man, I feel like when I'm watching moto-vloggers, I feel like I'm my kid watching someone else play with their toys.
That's accurate.
So I was like, man, maybe it's just for me. Maybe it was just the angle of the picture all the time because I feel like it's that POV or whatever you want to say. So I was like, man, I'm gonna find a different place and make it feel a little different or something. But it's just with the GoPro and the wide angle, it's like you get it on the side of the helmet. It just
half your screen's helmet. Yeah.
And I don't know. For me, I'm a little OCD in some things. So when I'm looking straight on with the GoPro at my side and everything's just a little bit to the left. Yeah. I'm like, oh man,
that's why when I set it up, if you actually set your GoPro in the middle of your helmet, the lens is actually cocked off to one side. So when I do my setups, I actually cock the camera off so that way the lens is as close to the middle as possible. That makes sense. And people ask me because, some people go top mount, some people go side mount, like why do I go front mount? And I said is kind of to your point, I want the viewer to feel like they are riding. I don't want them to feel like they are riding with me. Yeah. And it's funny because Chase on Two Wheels, he's one of the larger sport bike motovloggers. He actually does a side mount because he wants you to feel like you're riding with him. But I guess it depends on what you want. I just don't like the helmet taking up a third of the screen. Because say, for example, if you're riding down the road and something happens off to your 10 o'clock, you're not going to see that in that camera. Yeah. Even with it being, 270 degrees.
The first time I ever rode with a GoPro, I did it on the top of the helmet. I had a little mount up there, and we were doing PCH. Yeah. And it was great for the view of the whole scenery. Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those things. It's if I would want to do it, if I was going to do it, a blend of that kind of rider point of view plus cinematic views. Yeah. Which I guess is what everybody's doing, right? Yeah. So, for me, with the thing on top of the helmet, it's I got a couple good shots, but I was like, I don't want to film the entire trip on this angle, And then so I'm looking on the bike, where can I set up another camera and something all the suction cups you can buy. I thought it'd be cool to have a really badass shot from the side of the bike while you're riding with the suction cup. I just don't trust it. You know what I mean?
I would. For real? I have put those suction cups through God knows what, they will hold. I've seen those GoPros hold on cars going 185 plus.
Well, I guess on the bike, I guess I'm just buying I don't know. I got the GoPro one, right? But it's the shaking.
Yeah, that's true. And especially if you're doing it here on the side, you're not getting a flat. The only place I would trust it would be right there on the nose, or maybe the tank, or possibly the top of the saddlebag.
See, I was more confident with the top of the saddlebag, but I really wanted the angle from what I really need is a fucking camera crew is what we all need,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it sucks because I'm usually the one riding the nicer bike of the group. And it's like, I'm the one that needs to be video just for the purpose of the videos and advertising and stuff like that. And it sucks that I'm always the one taking pictures and videos of everybody. So I got all these nice stock Dynas going down the road, the black ones.
No, absolutely. That's my mom growing up. Every time I was doing like videos and stuff like that, that would always be her complaint. Like I'd come back from like a 2-week tour filming all these events. I'm like, oh, check out this awesome edit we did. She's like, well, there's no video of you. I'm like, of course, Mom. Like I'm filming these guys. But yeah, same.
It's a weird role that you accept in life. Okay, no one's gonna know who I am, but everybody's gonna know what I've done.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I think that's one thing that I like about the vlogging is people do know who I am and they know the bikes. Yeah. But it's because of the different videos I've done. Like for example, the build series focuses on the bikes, but yet when we go out and ride, it's a lot about me and what I'm doing, and the events and stuff like that is more about the events and what we're doing at the events and stuff like that. But I feel like I've kind of found my creative groove because I was more focused on the cinematics and making it feel like a movie and stuff like that, when I realized that people want more of they don't want that production value in that sort of environment. So what I've done recently is, instead of, talking throughout the entire ride or filming the entire ride, I'll film 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here. But then when we get off the bike, that's when I break the camera out and I film what we're doing off the bike, kind of focusing on it's not the trip, it's the destination or something like that. Kind of the reverse of that. And just kind of showing what we're doing off the bike, and that kind of, it makes them feel like they were there and they saw all the stuff that took place. And then I'll use my 10, 15 minutes of riding footage. I'll use that as the quote unquote cinematics. I'll throw a nice filter, color grading on it, slow it down, all that bullshit. Just kind of as it's more of a minute long transition between the off bike scenes than anything else.
See, the other thing I learned through just watching videos and taking videos, and then once I was like, I started learning how to like get clips. Like instead of recording, for me, this might not be how you do, but I thought this would be better. Instead of recording like a 5-minute GoPro video and like, oh, they're in here somewhere, there's a badass shot, I started focusing on like 15-second to 1 minute like clips. That way I could easier find the cooler shit that was going on. And I was thinking, I mean, I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm kind of just speaking out of my ass here, but it might be easier when you put that in the video, because realistically, in the more, I guess, the cinematic version of that, you're not going to watch something that's over 5 seconds long for most. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
no, I think that goes back to my media days. Is when we were filming for paintball, it was record every single bit that you can, because the action can happen like that. Yeah. And that's kind of why I like to record in bigger chunks, because I mean, if someone goes down, or if you know, hit this badass turn quicker than you're supposed to, and you don't know that's coming up. But to that point, that's kind of, because I used to record from when we left the gas station till when we hit the next, wherever we were stopping. So that could be, an hour, 2 hours long. Basically, I'd be filling up cards left and right. But now, like if we're doing just a regular highway or things like that, I probably won't record. But if once we get on the twisties or once we get close to the event, I'll turn my camera on.
Yeah, see, I think what I was like, the more that I started researching into it, it's like I didn't really want to go the moto-vlog route. Yeah. I wanted to just like find a way to visually show the world in a social media type form, like everything that our business is about, whether it's the paint work, the podcasting, or the bike riding, and just kind of let people into that world. But it's because there's lots of visual things that's interesting and different shit. But like I said, it just sucks to be the guy that has to do that shit and run around and give. Like I got some nice cameras, especially for like photography and stuff. And so every once in a while, like I'll set up a little shoot in the garage or the shop just to get some shit to use for like filler stuff on social media whenever in between things and stuff. And everybody's always like, man, like, so when you say it, it's like, yeah, I set up a tripod and I posed for this shit. So fuck off. You know what I mean? I didn't feel cool, but I look cool. So fuck off. You know?
Yeah, I can only imagine if you did like a build series type videos on the bikes that you do, or even just like when you get tins in, the process that goes into it.
I want to. I just, like, you know what happens to me when I watch like YouTube videos of like how-to videos? I fall asleep. Yeah. I'm just like,
well, you don't have to do how-to, so you can just film the process.
And that's what I want to get into, is like that kind of stuff. And I was wanting, I mean, I've talked about it plenty of times, but I thought, you know, just this idea of like, it'd be so sick to have like this shop that's already set up to set up and do media. So like set up, you know, instead of like my art table where I'm doing all the airbrush and all the paint work on, have it set up so that I can clip cameras in certain areas to get certain angles, or, you know, hell, just even getting, like, I don't have any service in my shop or internet at all.
Wow.
So I'm trying to get that taken care of first, and then like do maybe some YouTube live things while I'm, you know, airbrushing something.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. That's kind of the route I was trying to take in this shop, was try to make it as, or this garage, I don't want to call it a shop, but to make it as video friendly as possible, because my old garage, it was a lot smaller than this, and two, it was dark and dingy. So I was having to set up studio lights and shit every single time I wanted to shoot something. And I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. So of course I threw up 1,000 lights on the ceiling, but I can record without any sort of like external lighting, which makes the process go much faster.
And it's crazy because I've always set up my shops, like I would like set up an area that would look cool when I take pictures of something. So like the back of the background would always have, like, whether it's subliminal advertising or just, you know, it creates a vibe in your photo. Like I used to, a lot of friends that do their social medias for their shops, and like they'll do some badass work and they'll take the worst picture of it. I'm like, dude, you're doing no justice to that. Like, fucking just put a sheet up behind it or something, you know?
Put some sort of effort into it. Yeah.
And hell, like even like when we started like pushing the helmet thing, we had been doing the helmets for a while, and then it wasn't until I started using the ability to put more than one photo up of that helmet and started using that actual camera to take pictures of them. Yeah. And that way it's really focused in on the detail and artwork of everyone. It changed the whole perspective of that.
Yep. It changes the whole look of the whole page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. And you know, when you go to the page, and that's something I've always thought about too. Like, I want people, like, if they like the photo, cool, but if they go to my social media, I want them to see shit that interests them.
Yeah. All the way down.
Yeah, all the way down. And I've always tried to keep a lot of my personal, like, pictures of me or my wife or my kids off of the actual business page.
Yeah.
But so the last like month, I've been pushing more to build my personal page up. Mm-hmm. And mainly because like, it's a weird like dynamic, right? So I ride bikes. I'm like one of the only painters in the world. There's lots of them. A lot of them listen to this, that likes riding bikes more than I like painting bikes. You know what I mean? And I ride them a lot and I go a lot of places, but because I'm associated with some type of motorcycle related business, it's hard to get any love from companies because it would look like favoritism or anything like that. So if I was just Jace, then, so-and-so is going to sponsor Jace because, you know, he does what he does. But sponsoring the Fast Life Garage is more of a like, oh, well, if we do this for the Fast Life Garage, and every one of our dealers are going to want the same kind of treatment. And
gotcha.
You know what I mean?
So they're looking at you as a shop and a retailer as opposed to an artist.
Yeah. Or just somebody that, I hate to use the word influencer, but the thing is that, like, I think we're all kind of like, there's certain words that people say, and then you're just kind of like, ugh, you know, like influencers, like that just sounds like blah.
Sounds super cocky and bullshit.
It does, you know. But the thing that's weird is that, like, when you do anything, the amount of questions and the amount of DMs that you get, you know, it's like, okay, well, this should be somebody else's job, not mine.
Yep.
And if I'm gonna do this, then I should get something for it.
I should be getting paid for it because I'm doing your job. No, absolutely.
It's like this was a big thing with the paint world, is that like I would use this clear coat and then, oh man, what clear coat is that? I'm like, I'll tell you the clear. Well, okay, I sprayed this once, but you know, this happened to me. So what do you think I should do? Yep. Okay, now there's actually people that have 401ks and health insurance that answer these questions. I do not. I had to pay for the clear that I'm also now selling to you. Yeah. So it's a weird thing. And I've been calling myself a millennial lately, which I technically am, but I've been calling myself that because of the entitlement that I've been feeling like I should get from that. You know what I mean?
No, I completely get it. I mean, I can only imagine because of all the variables that go into paint and stuff like that. Like, for example, when I had the Dyna, I'd put it up and for example, my Memphis Shades fairing video. I got a comment on the other day that said, will their bullet fairing fit a 1980 V-Star? I'm like, how the fuck would I know?
Yeah.
Like, type it into Google.
Yeah. Laziness.
It bugs the hell out of me. Like, that's one of my least favorite things about being a quote unquote influencer is all of the questions that they could easily just type into Google and get the exact same answer.
Yeah, it's a mess, man. It's but what it comes down to is like, realistically, you know, I just look at it like I'm not trying to get rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm really not. But the way I look at it is I love doing this podcast stuff and I love riding bikes. And if I can find a way to cushion the financial side of that, you know, whether it's being able to have the time off or, you know, all the equipment. I mean, you just said your buddy just dropped what, $1,400 on mics and new equipment.
Yep.
I mean, that shit just it's not like it keeps continuing. Every month that goes by, the next one starts and you have another set of bills to pay. And it's like, you know, trying to get podcast sponsors, it's a job, man, you know?
Oh, absolutely. The podcast sponsors are even harder than anything else. The Instagram and YouTube shit's easy compared to the podcast.
Well, the
stuff.
YouTube thing, I imagine super easy because it's proven.
Yeah.
You know, the podcast thing is a new market for businesses to consider for marketing.
Yeah.
So when we had D&D as a sponsor, you know, we didn't sell as much pipes, or he didn't get as much for his investment as Big Bear did. And I don't know if it was because people are just kind of lost with suspension, you know, and that podcast we did with him was just so informative that it kind of helped people like, okay, this is the direction we're going. But I mean, when he told me the amount of suspensions that he sold off that podcast, I was like, well, you know, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Can I
get some gas money?
Right. I'm in talk, like going back to the millennial entitlement, like I'm getting really bad because like you said, it's been proven. I've seen the numbers.
Yeah.
And so now when like I'm in talks with this company and they're like, oh, we can offer dealer pricing. I'm like, so you're literally taking zero risk and want all of the rewards. Yeah. Like you realize I sold, like, for example, just throwing this out there, when I did the thrash and supply bags, I sold 130 sets in the first 48 hours.
Wow.
Like everyone was like, oh shit, those are perfect. They fit the dyna. They don't take up a lot of room. They don't require any mounts. 130 sets. I mean, granted, you're not going to get that kind of success
on
every
everything.
single product.
Like some products just are work. They work and they work for you as a guy that's talking about them. And that's one thing I'm trying to do as well, is I'm not trying to just take anything. I'm like, I want to feel the product. I want to see the product. And I think that might be a difference with the D&D exhaust, is that I didn't physically run one. So every time I talked about it, it was completely as just an advertisement ad instead of a personal advertisement towards it.
That definitely does change.
But see, a lot of people want to pay you with fucking products. Yeah. And I'm like, well, the products are part of the job, man. Like I need those to tell people why.
That's why I've been getting really into the affiliate links and the reversion programs. Because, for example, like Rockform, they signed me up and they said, hey, we'll send you out a free phone mount, but then we'll give you, X% off of whatever you sell. I'm cool with that because that puts zero risk on them and all of the possibility of earning money on me. Mm-hmm. I get that. But when companies, like you said, are just trying to offer free product and nothing else, it's like, okay, so if I sell, 1,000 items from you, I still get, free insert part here. I did literally all of the work. Yeah.
On the platform that you built.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I totally get it. It's a hard struggle because at the same time you don't want to become that asshole that no one wants to help out. Yeah.
Well, with the podcast stuff, it's like we have more analytics than magazines have.
Oh, absolutely. They're ridiculous.
And so when you looked at what a magazine article cost, it was like if you wanted a full page in like Hot Bike, that was a $3,000 a month investment.
Damn.
So there are companies that were paying $3,000 a month per magazine. You know, you go look at a Kuryakin ad in Hot Bike and American Bagger and Road Iron, and you're like, okay, this company is dropping probably, and of course some of these magazines are all under one parent company, so it might be a package like, hey, $5,000 we'll put you in 4 magazines.
Yeah.
So I get that, but that's still a lot of fucking money.
It's a ton of money.
And then you get the little bitty square one in the back of the magazine. It's like $400 for a month. And so when you're on a podcast, it's like, and I tell them this all the time, is like, Manic Crew was one of our first sponsors, you know, from February of last year. Guess what? Last month we had 2,000 downloads from those podcasts in February. So his advertisement that he spent in February, which was not that much money because we didn't really know how to like sell this stuff yet, is still working for him today.
Yeah. That's another great point, is because that magazine is irrelevant in 2 months, 3 months maybe. Videos, podcasts, media like that. I've got a video right now. It's the top 5 things I hate about my Sportster. That's how old it is. Yeah. And it's my second or third best performing video right now.
For real.
Getting like 6,000 views a month.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
It pops up out of nowhere. It's all down to the metadata and how the search engine's ranking it, and it's going to live on for as long as people are searching for Sportsters.
Exactly. So with just like video, like you said, it's like as our brands grow and our listeners grow, so do people that are going to go back and listen and watch the old things.
That's a great point, yeah.
If for some reason in some alternate universe here, we become, you know, super big, you know, 100,000 million follower kind of company, which I don't see it happening. But if it did, then even still that Manic Crew, that $50 1 month thing, it might be $5,000 a month at that point for advertisement. You know what I mean? But it's like, it still works. So it's like, I'm like, look, it's not that much money now, but every dollar you're spending is a continual advertisement for this month for all the rest of the time.
Yeah, it compounds.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I told D&D, like, you know, because he only wanted to do a quarter. And I always tell my sponsors, like, man, like, do longer than a month. And it's not because I want more money. It's just that, like, you need the consistency of being a part of the podcast or part of the advertisement program to where people feel like, okay, yeah, it's like that. They keep hearing it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's why one of the sponsors I signed up with last year was the personal injury lawyer. Yeah. I mean, it just happened to be that he was a friend of a friend of a friend, but I told him, I was like, I need X amount of dollars and I'll put you on for a calendar year from the first video. And he signed a check without even blinking, because that's someone who knows how far that advertisement dollar is going to go.
Yeah, and that's what's weird. So it's like in some cases, like, you know, like Mark from Texas Performance, his shop's full of fucking bikes. Yeah. Not all from me, but, you know, he's like, yeah, this guy's from the podcast, this guy's from the podcast, and this guy's from the podcast, and it's cool. It's like, it works. You know, but he's also been a sponsor of the podcast since the day one. Yeah. So it's like that, you know, maybe you spent 4 months of advertising and it didn't quite pan out yet, but then you hit that hit and something starts happening, like people start coming in and flooding in. It's like,
because that one person goes in, gets good work done, he posts on social media, his friend shares it because of the paint job or something, and it like I said, it compounds.
But I guess on the other end of the spectrum, it's got to be hard for companies that aren't savvy to this tech market that we're in now to know where to put money as far as advertisement dollars.
That makes sense.
And you have everybody that's trying to be an influencer, right?
Oh, yeah. I think that's what kills it more than anything.
Yeah, so you got all these people that are willing to do it for free parts. Yeah. And then you got, so they're, like, to me, we have plenty of them in Texas. There's lots of them. And there's lots of them that are trying to get started right now. Yeah. And I'm not, hey, that's your hustle. That's fucking dope. You know, you're out riding bikes. You're inspiring people to ride bikes. Keep doing it. You know what I mean? But I guess for seasoned riders, you know, a lot of these guys are appealing to newer riders. And so, you know, companies got to think about that. Okay, like this guy obviously is appealing to the rider that he's the guy that may be bringing new riders in. Yeah. What about these older guys that have been riding for years that everybody just forgets to market to, that actually has money to spend on shit?
That's very true. Yeah, I think you nailed it right there on the head. And I mean, I would say, going back to your point, is that with older companies, it's harder to know what the value is on these newer marketing platforms.
Yeah.
I can't remember who, I think it was Blockhead that sent me one where they'd actually done, like, this statistical company actually done like a financial breakdown on what that actually compounds to.
Yeah.
And it was something stupid, like for every 30,000 views, likes, clicks, whatever, it was like $1,000. So it's like, man, that really adds up,
Yeah.
especially when you've got, like, for me, example, I think I'm over 500 videos now.
Damn.
So, I mean, 30,000 is nothing. It's, it's like every couple weeks. So it's the amount of money I should be getting paid compared to, I mean, of course.
So when they changed all those YouTube things, did that hurt you, or were you not a part of it yet?
No. Well, it depends. What change are you referring to?
When they made it to where, I guess it's more for guys like me who don't have the 2,500 followers or whatever yet, and the hours or the views or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. No, that most recent one where they did, I think it's like 10,000 view minutes per month, and I think you have to be over, like you said, 2,500 subscribers. That one didn't touch me at all. No, okay. 10,000 view minutes is extremely easy, especially when you've got so much content. Like I could have a video bomb and not even come close to that. I average about 1 million minutes per month.
Damn,
so I'd have to really fuck up to drop below that threshold.
See, all our YouTube is like nothing but just audio form. So it's like, there's only a handful of people that watch or that do our podcast through the YouTube, because they'll like play it in the shop in the background.
Yeah.
You know, which I started with my iPad Pro while I'm working. I would put up like a Joe Rogan podcast and watch it. Or like I actually watched some of yours on the same thing. It's like, for me, I can still airbrush or lay out graphics on something, and it's kind of like, you know,
it's background.
It's background. Yeah. So that's cool. But for the most part, most of the podcasting I do or listening to is while I'm driving or now riding, because I just finally got into the headset game.
Oh yeah,
or whatever you want to call it.
Cenas?
I don't have it on this helmet; it's on my other one.
Yeah,
but no, it's not a Cena, but it's, you know, I dig it. But I've never ran anything else, so it's kind of like I've been talking with a company about them being a sponsor and things like that, and so we're trying out the product, and it's like I dig it, but. I don't know.
You don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah. So I'm like, as somebody that's never had one, this is fucking dope.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll say I've got one of the top of the line Cenas, and it sucks ass. So
for real,
I'm willing to try anything at this point.
Yeah.
But I run mine with plug phones. It's a necessity. It's basically headphones and earplugs combined. So it blocks out all the wind noise, the engine noise, and you just get either your comms or your music, whatever you're listening to.
Yeah.
And I swear by those things.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's a new thing, and you know, we have a big trip planned for to ride to California at the beginning of June, and there's 5 of us going, and so I'm trying to get us all fitted for those things from the company, and then, you know, like just make it. You know what I'm actually really trying to do about that trip, and I don't know how to do it. And I don't know if anybody's ever really done. I know people have done it, but I'm trying to get people to sponsor the trip. Yeah, you know, like I'm trying, like, so. We're going to be doing like podcasts, like kind of a road tripping episode, but it's going to be a couple of episodes, and it's basically going to be, I'm going to bring on my group of friends that are going to go. We're going to do a podcast before the thing. We're going to talk about, you know, why we wanted to do it, all this shit. So they're going to hear that, and then we're going to camp. We're basically hitting, of like Adam Sandoval's 20 best rides, we're hitting almost half of them on this trip. Damn. So the first one's Pikes Peak. Then we're doing all this Colorado shit, which is going to be just as nice. We're going to be, not that it's on this trip, but we're going to go through Salt Flats, ride through Yosemite, PCH down to LA. And then from LA, we're going to do the Born Free thing. And then we're going to ride Angel's Crest to Vegas. And then Vegas, we're going to go up into Utah again, hit Zion, Monument Valley, $1 Million Highway, and then home. So it's like we're going to do quite a few things. And so every night that we camp, we're going to set up the podcast equipment, and we're going to talk about the last couple of however many days it was since the last time we talked. And so I'm trying to put together this series of podcasts that's basically about that trip and the different perspectives from the different riders, you know. So I'm going to bring these guys on, and they're going to be like, yeah, I'm so-and-so, and I'm a investment banker, blah, or some shit, you know what I mean? And so, you know, to give people like a taste of who this person is and their who they are as people.
Yeah.
That way, when you're hearing their ideas or their, you know what I mean, it just makes it a little more personal.
I love that idea. I think that's great.
But yeah, so I was trying to get. I mean, it's a costly trip, and fortunately, the way we set it up was we planned the whole route. We planned all the hotels and all the campsites in like December. We had a big fucking meeting at a table and shit, and fucking shared notes and thoughts and ideas, and then we put together a budget, and then we just divvied it up with the months that we had till now, and then to cover all the expenses of the hotels and everything.
Yeah.
And all we're going to have is spending money and gas money.
Nice.
So that helps out a lot. But I was thinking like, man, like if we can get sponsored on thing for, wearing helmets or the headsets or something that we can actually also, help sell on the podcast or market,
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's the plan.
No, I think that's a great idea. I'm glad I'm not going because me and you in Vegas, that would not work out well.
Dude, I get in trouble in Vegas all the time.
I almost got in trouble with Vegas, and last time I went with my parents.
Yeah.
So they bought us a Vegas trip for our wedding gift, and saw my mom get fucked up on the Vegas trip. That was great.
That's funny.
She popped an edible right before the Cirque du Soleil show.
Wow. That would be kind of fun though.
Oh man, it was great. But yeah, watching her sprint down the strip saying, "I can run so fast." My mom's 63.
Damn.
So yeah, she got turned. Yeah, but we're taking a trip to Arkansas at the end of this month, actually, a couple weeks coming up. So that'll be my first out of state ride.
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went up to Paris last year for the world record ride, but we didn't actually ride our bikes into Oklahoma. We were staying at a little Airbnb just south of the border, so didn't really technically ride into Oklahoma. But we took a very similar approach. We got granted we're not doing a road trip like you guys, but we got the Airbnb, we divvied up everything like that, and it was paid for 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
But
it's, like for me, crossing state lines was a huge game changer in motorcycling for me. Yeah. It really changed the perspective of like everything. You know,
can go anywhere.
Yeah, you can. And not only that, man, like, I don't know if you've got to, you said you got to travel a lot, so you've kind of seen things. I never traveled until I started riding bikes across country.
Really?
So like, yeah, we've been to the fucking WinStars and the Alec Creek casinos. And, up there in Dallas, that's like, we're kind of in the corner of the state. So, but once going places opened up and then getting off the main, like the first thing was, all right, we're going to LA. We're going to fucking blast down 10 all the way there. Right. And then it's like, yeah, this is cool, but there's a better way to do it. Yeah. And then once you start doing it and learning how to do this stuff, it's like, it just changes everything, man. Yeah. Like now I actually enjoy the solo trips as well.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that because that was actually the number one reason why I didn't make it to the camp out. Is because everyone I was planning on going with bitched out. Yeah. They had the whole, I camped enough in the military mentality. Well, which I get. I haven't gone through that, but.
Well, I tell everybody, it's like, don't be selfish. Yeah. All right. Like there's plenty of things you can do there. You can rent a cabin. You can get you an air mattress. You can do whatever. The thing is like that event is for people to just expand their friendships. Yeah. And it sounds super gay, super Mr. Rogers and shit, but the thing is it like I made friends on the camp out last year that I've ridden with since then. Yeah. My friends in East Texas, my buddy in Michigan. I met a new guy from I met a lot of people this time, but I talked a lot with the guy that rode in from Tampa, and I don't fucking like Florida, and now all I want to do is go ride with the dude in Florida. So it's like the point of the trip is to meet people and to expand your friends in this motorcycle world outside of your state. Yeah. And give you a reason to want to go try new shit. Plus drinking lots of beer, riding bikes, talking shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just a fun time. But if you're like, oh man, I don't like camping, I was like, well, get a fucking hotel, dude. Yeah. Like, not going to twist your arm to have a good time. You can stay home and look at the stories on Instagram later. Yeah. It was a great weekend though, because we had Avengers Thursday night, then Friday and Saturday was partying and riding and everything, and then Sunday night was the Game of Thrones fucking thing. So we had a good time. It was a good weekend for us.
Yeah, I was right there on the fence until the last minute. I was like, I've never taken a solo trip before, especially something that far away. Yeah, You just
For
rode
you,
it.
it's a while. Yeah.
Yeah. You know how far it is.
It's 160 miles north of us, so it'll be about 460 for you guys.
Yeah. And the longest trip I've ever taken was about 420, and that was with a small group. And I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna like it. I feel I'm either gonna love it or hate it.
Some of the podcasts I've done with other people, like Chris Callen and stuff, they had really poetic ways of talking about your mind state on a trip like that. And up until this, like having this last trip this weekend, I never wore headsets and I never listened to the radio. I don't wear headphones. I don't do any of that.
I couldn't do that.
and I did, dude, all the way to Cali and back, 1,000-mile days. You know what I mean? It's like I just get in a zone and I feel like I work out problems, but I still have them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You just think about them differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's, I don't know, man, like there's something really awesome about taking a solo trip. And there's also something really badass about doing it with your friends, you know, and sharing those memories and those, you know, all that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's two really badass dynamics that are completely different.
Like I say, they're completely different though. Yeah.
So going to Cali was the first time I've ever done that far alone.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes and I like to get out the highway as much as I can. And you're just in these little parts of the country. You're like, man, like whoever has a reason to come through here.
Yeah.
But it's cool that I'm here. And like, I wish there was a level up system. Like, oh, I've been here, fuck y'all. You know what I mean? But realistically, it's just like, you see these roads and like, you know, it's like, man, I got the road down. I remember in 2019, I rode down that road right there. Haven't rode it since.
Yeah.
You know,
but I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I mean, when I take like, especially when I lived on the other side of town, this side of town, it's kind of shitty, but on the other side of town, 3-4 minutes, you were in the hill country.
Yeah.
You're out in the middle of nowhere. And I used to take solo rides out there all the time. And like you said, it does put you in a different mind state. But I don't know how that would work, you know, 10 plus hours.
Yeah. The other thing that, you know, I've been riding bikes since 2004. So this is like my 15th year riding. And I've gone through phases where things get mundane and they get uninspiring. You know what I mean? And sometimes I have to change the bike or the style of bike or what I'm doing on the bike to reignite the passion for it, right? Yeah. And at this current time, like, and I'm kind of hypocritical for saying this, but I don't really enjoy day riding. Like, hey, let's meet up here and go ride here and have a beer and then go to this place and have lunch. And it doesn't do anything for me. You know what I mean?
Because you've done it so much?
Yeah, it's like I want something to look forward to when I go riding. You know what I mean? And so to me, it's like
you don't want to come home.
Yeah. That is it. I mean, it's like if all the guys were like, "Hey, dude, let's go rip down to San Antonio for the night." Cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go ride the same amount of miles all over town. Let's go 100 miles out and come back like that. The entire day, right? Or actually, it's fun until you get there to the place. And then for the rest of the day, you're thinking, how long can I stay and have fun before I got to go home? And
I get that. Yeah. Because I've totally had that experience, like, especially like when we go out to Twisted Sisters. I mean, it's only from here, it's about 2, maybe 2.5 hours, depending on how much you stop. But it's the same thing. It's like, oh, I could stay out here and rip these hills all day, but you know, the sun's going down in an hour and a half.
And deers are crazy out there, dude.
Fuck, it's stupid. So yeah, no, I totally get it.
But yeah, that's the only thing. So like, I mean, I'm not saying I don't do it. I do it occasionally, but I don't look forward to it the same way. So, you know, and then once we started camping, that kind of made it cheaper to do things, and it changed the dynamic too. Because, you know, I've said this before, but like if you pile in a hotel room, your night's kind of over once you hit the hotel.
Yep.
You know, on a campsite, you can find yourself sitting around a campfire for another 3 or 4 hours after you stopped, just, you know, talking like I plan to do with those podcasts.
Yeah. And that's the reason why we do Airbnbs when we go, is because it has that same camp mentality.
Yeah.
A little bit more expensive, but of course you're getting all the conveniences of a shower and air conditioning and things like that. So, plus all my buddies make a ridiculous amount of money.
What part of Arkansas y'all going up to?
We're staying in Eureka Springs. Yeah,
so I heard that place is real nice. That's where Adam was the weekend before last weekend actually.
Yeah, we're going up there. We're meeting with the honorary one.
Yeah.
We're actually doing an event for I don't know exactly how it is. The way he described it to me, I understood it's kind of like a branch of their like Parks and Rec department, kind of like their tourist board. It's called Ride the Ozarks. So they're basically going to be, one day at least, they're going to be basically our tour guides. And they're going to take us around all of the best routes around that area. But we're going to be there for, I think, 3 or 4 days. So
that's cool. Dude, Talamina's the shit.
Yeah.
So I finally rode Twisted Sisters during Giddy Up.
Yeah.
It's weak.
It's
weak. It's cool because it's in Texas, you know. But 15 years of hype until I finally rode it, right?
That's true. Yeah.
And so and maybe I'm a little desensitized because of all the other places I've been. But I had it on a pedestal like this better be badass. And there was the first leg of it was pretty cool, but it just Talamina to me just carries way more cornering, way more views. You're literally riding on top of a mountain the entire way. From
what I've seen in videos, I have to agree with you. You really, really have to push it on Twisted Sisters to make it sketchy.
There's a couple little really tight hairpins on there.
Yeah, but I mean, that's it.
But it's kind of like just kind of working your way down a hill or a mountain and stuff. But really I know that there's probably some sick ass roads around it that's just not as like popular or branded.
There definitely is. We call it the Boop'em route because that's the route that I rear-ended roadblock on. Yeah. But it's a small little loop. It's a lot smaller than Twisted Sisters, but it's the pavement's better. The turns are better. Yeah. We really like it out there. And there's actually one tiny little road. You might have seen it on a video, but it's called Cielo Vista. It's right outside of town, and it's only probably about 7-8 miles long. It's really short, but it's super tight, super technical. You've got blind driveways left and right, so you never know when a car is going to be pulling out in front of you. That's one of my favorite routes. The sketchier, the better for me.
For me, I guess the reason, like the Talamina ride was great. There wasn't that many cars on it. I've ridden Blue Ridge Parkway. It's like 30 mile per hour speed limit the entire way. Yeah. And there's cops everywhere, and there's like minivans everywhere, right? So it's like this is legitimately a cruise that you just cruise.
You have to cruise.
So, and then Teledragon, great ride. I think it's much more of a sport bike thing than a Harley thing. It's really hard to whip the bike back and forth that fast and carry those corners. Still had a good time.
Yeah.
Talamina is this year we finally rode the entire thing. It's way more technical than I ever remembered it last year. You know what I mean? And we actually had a guy that went down on it pretty bad, and he's been in the hospital.
About that, man. God.
It's it was real weird, man. It wasn't he didn't do. I mean, I guess he did something wrong, but it's like it was an honest mistake that any one of us could have made.
Gotcha,
you know, you're riding a foreign road. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he was also chasing the Texas Performance guys and Steve Chamberlain and these guys that they kind of ride without consequences in their head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like me, I don't ride that way. Like I'm trying to ride harder, but I'm looking at the map too while I'm riding to make sure that it's
which is fucking cheating because when I was on the Dyna, I had never ridden with a GPS before, and Roadblock we'd be on a brand new road, and Roadblock would be quick as shit. Roadblock can ride, and I'd be of course on his ass on the Dyna, but I'm like, how the fuck are you preparing yourself for these turns? And then the first time I rode with GPS, I'm like, oh, this is fucking cheating. You can really push yourself when you know what's around the corner.
Exactly. So you can kind of get an idea for the kind of corners or the setups they're going to be, and that's basically what happened with the Bikes and Bullets. Is the guy that went down. He came out of a corner where he was going hot, and he wasn't prepared for the next corner, so he tried to lock up the brakes, and he went down. So it was like, and of course we were all like, thinking like, man, maybe if he would have just tried the corner, he would have probably washed out, maybe differently. And honestly, it just the bike ended up landing on him after it high-sided.
I was gonna say he must have high-sided then.
Yeah, so it was. I don't know, man. It sucks. And it was weird. The whole thing is weird. And I haven't really talked about it much because of just respect for him and everything. Yeah. But it's, as someone that put on the event, it made it really weird. Like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because he got flown far away. Like, I mean, over 150 miles away.
Damn.
Because we're out there in the middle of nowhere. And, and some people were, kind of carrying on, and we all did, but we're like, fuck, man, like this is weird. Like there was definitely a vibe at the camp out afterwards where we're still trying to have a good time and drink and
It
talk.
was on everyone's mind, though.
Yeah, it was on everyone's mind. Like, you know, do we ride to the hospital? You know, like, what? Yeah, I mean, and the weird thing is, like, we know him, but we don't know him as well as like all of our closer friends. So it's like, dude, it's a weird place to be.
It definitely is, yeah.
And then, you know, just not knowing. And then, you know, when he went down, like, I wasn't there. I was actually already in Mena, Arkansas whenever I found out. But he was unconscious. So this dude was laying on the ground with half of the group still sitting there with him for an hour before anything could get there. And it was just like, fuck, dude.
That must have been the longest hour for those guys.
I just couldn't imagine. I mean, dude, we've had a lot of people going down lately. It's been a real weird year. You know what I mean? So I know a friend went down, or a shop had one of their guys go down in Houston and he passed away. We had the guy up in Dallas who worked for Dallas Harley went down and passed away. And then this guy, you know, Blake is still pulling. He's still holding on. So, but
fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, we thankfully have not had anyone go down to that extent. We have had the ambulance called out, but it was more just a nasty road rash type situation. But it like you said, as the event coordinator, it definitely puts you in a weird spot because like, do you try to keep the group happy and in good spirits, or do you just kind of cancel it and kind of call it a day? Yeah, it's definitely weird. But to that point, that is why I try to emphasize so much. I know people on the internet talk shit about me in particular, because there was a stint there where literally every other ride we had someone go down. For I think we had 3 or 4 people go down. So for like 8 rides, every other ride someone was going down, or at least dropping a bike or something like that. But it's at the point where I'm just like, fuck, quit riding outside your limits. Like, if you want to be fast, go be fast somewhere else. If you're not fast, stay in the fucking back. Like, you're going to either hurt yourself or hurt somebody else. Like, just fucking stop.
And, me and my wife talked about that after this, because she was like, she was there, and she was also like, man, this is weird, and it's like, and I told her, I was like, babe, like, I'm not saying that I don't sometimes push myself. Yeah. But I try to keep myself in check, because I don't have health insurance and fucking nothing to fall back on. Like, I go down and hurt my hands, I'm fucked. Yeah. You're going to be hearing a lot of podcasts. So, because I'm not going to be able to paint or do the things I actually make money doing anymore. So it's a different, there's more at stake. There's a lot at stake for anybody to go down. But, like, fortunately, Blake, to my knowledge, has, pretty decent healthcare insurance, which I'm sure that this is going to cost more than whatever they're willing to pay or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I don't have any of that shit. So yeah,
no, everyone, and especially because it's the internet and people, don't have any consequences for what they say. Everyone points the finger at you, like, oh, you were leading, it's your fault.
And that's weird. Mark and Steve were the ones that were leading, because we separated, because last year we didn't have anybody go down last year. But we just realized that there's 2 types of riding going on. Like, Mark and them were just pushing. They were hauling ass. And I wanted to go with them, but realistically, like, Talamina is super technical. Yeah. It's super technical for you to just do the speed limit, to be honest with you. Wow. You know what I mean? Like, there's some, you really have elevation changes, which I know you guys have here with the hill country and stuff, but for a lot of people in like Dallas, we don't have elevation changes.
That's totally alien to you guys.
Yeah. So it changes, like, it literally changes the way it feels riding a bike down a hill or up a hill. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good up a hill.
You
down
have
a hill,
to lean differently. You have to brake differently. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah, there's a lot of different dynamics that are going at that. And then, trying to carry the corners, what's good about Talamina is that there's not a lot of, like, road gravel. Dude, when I was riding around in North Carolina doing that hot bike tour, I was riding behind Kerry Hart and fucking Big Al and all these dudes from fucking like Cali that are, insta cool guys and stuff. And it's like, I was keeping up on my FXR. We were doing good, but dude, we were hitting these roads that like had driveways off of them. Yeah. And just one particular one had a driveway in the apex of the corner, which is where the fucking gravel was on the road. And I hit that and kind of high-sided a little bit. Slowed down. I went to the back of the pack. It's like, I'm too far away to go down. I'll have to leave my bike here.
the last ride I took on the Dyna, which we'll get back to that topic since that was our first question.
Yeah.
We never answered it. I was pushing it hard, super hard, taking sweepers, close to 100, and it felt like my front end was on ice. Like it was all over the place. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So we stop at a gas station. I'm like, I bet you I didn't, because we had just done, I think we had done a long ride. So I'd softened up the suspension in the rear. I had the fully adjustable in the rear. And I was like, I bet you that was it. So I stiffened it up. And then we did something similar to what you were talking about. We split up into two groups because we were going down Park Road 37, which is, it's up there for technicality. So I was like, I'm going to lead the fast group. Haas is going to lead the slow group. Split yourselves accordingly.
Yeah.
And we take off, and I lean into that first turn, and it's just as bad. I'm like, what the fuck? So I, being a responsible adult, I waved the rest of the group by. I'm like, go ahead. Because if I try to keep up the pace of the fast group with my bike handling like this, it's not going to go well for anybody.
Yeah.
Came home, realized that my tires were at 19 PSI on both the front and the back. So I was like, I bet you that was it. But no, man, riding within your limits, it's God. And that's one thing that I hate about being a moto-vlogger is when I put on these rides, people want their 15 seconds of fame. So they're riding outside their limits. And thankfully we haven't had any serious injuries, but.
Well, I was also thinking like with the rise of performance Harley Davidson's becoming such a, in the way that our generation is riding them, it's naturally, I mean, not naturally, but I don't know the right way to say this without sounding like a dick, but it kind of feels like it's going to be a lot of wrecks, because these bikes aren't designed to do this shit.
They're not designed to do that. And the people that are riding them more times than not don't know how to ride.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason that I know how to ride is because my motocross background. I mean, I've been riding since I could pretty much walk.
Yeah.
But take someone who got their license at 16 and is going to be out there doing that stuff at 21. Like that's not enough time, especially if your other 4 years of riding have been on sport bikes. Like if you expect them to handle the same or, perform the same, it's not going to work. You have to respect the weight. You have to respect how the power goes down. You have to respect the lean angles. Like you have to respect the machine or it's going to bite you. It's going to bite you hard.
Yeah. And so I feel like, man, maybe with that aspect, there could be this, what we're kind of seeing is, which some of these wrecks that we talked about earlier have been like just people getting fucking plowed by cars and shit, but. And
then you're never going to stop that.
Yeah, that's never going to end. But, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to really associate that with Blake's accident, but it's just something to think about. Like, when we're putting all these, Ohlins and Legend suspensions and we're making these bikes handle so much better and stop faster, and go harder, you're still stopping. Like me and you are riding damn near 1,000-pound bikes.
968.
So and then hell, that, the Fat Bob's not a light bike either. That's, 500-600 pounds.
Yeah.
So they're just heavier bikes, man. I think a Hayabusa weighted 600 pounds, and that was the worst bike to take on a track to do twisties with. Yeah. So. Yeah,
of course it was a 300, but my wife's old 300 weighed I think like 320.
For real.
Half the weight of this bike.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just something to think about, like, and I guess like you were saying, like knowing your limits and not being. I tell everybody, look, I'm not as good as a lot of people at riding. I'm only good at staying alive, which I've done pretty good to this point. So that's what I'm focusing on. I'm trying to enjoy this. I'm trying to have fun, but
you don't want to ruin it for everyone else either.
Yeah.
I think that's an aspect that gets lost a lot is if you go down, you're not ruining just your day, you're ruining the whole group's day, whether you intend to or not.
Exactly.
I mean, we had one ride, we had two people go down on the exact same turn, one time going northbound, one time coming southbound, the exact same turn, bit the same people in the ass. And the one guy, it's one of those uphill increasing radius turns, and he just didn't have enough speed and just dumped it over. No big deal. Not a big fucking problem. Coming the other way, we were coming down the hill. The turn kind of takes kind of a slow, gradual right hand and then a hard left and a hard right. He didn't take any of them. He just went straight off. Luckily, I mean, there's probably a boulder the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, 3 feet off. So thankfully, he just dumped it in the gravel, bent the shit out of his handlebars and everything like that, scraped himself up. But, I mean, we had to stop the whole group for him and had to make sure he was okay. Which, Funny story I'll tell real quick about that. He was a pretty young kid. I think he was like 21, 22. He was down here for work. I think he was from Arkansas or Alabama, one of those. And he goes down, and he had just gotten the bike like a month or two before that. He was a very new rider. And so that accident happens. I put up the video, and about a week after the video goes up, I get an email. I said, hey, I'm so-and-so's dad, and he was telling me that the guy in front of him went down and he had to swerve to avoid him, and that's why he went off. I just watched your video, and that doesn't look like what happened. I'm like, all right, first off, this guy is a grown-ass man. Why are you emailing me? Yep. So I ignored it. I was like, I'm not gonna
be a part of that.
Yeah, that's a situation.
That feels like that thing, like when your friend's wife texts you and go, "Hey, my husband's not answering his phone." I'm like, well, why are you asking me? I'm not gonna snitch him out.
Yeah, I like that when you say hey, I was with you last night, right? Oh yeah, absolutely. You left your phone charger here, even like just complete bullshit. I was like, that's a real guy right there.
Yeah.
But anyways,
so you ended up getting this, right?
I did, yes. It's a 2018 Fat Bob. It's the 114. Finding the 114, this bike was a pain in the ass.
For real.
There's so many 107s, but I wanted the 114 because I wanted a bigger motor than what I have in my Geezer Glide at least. And I knew I've test ridden both of them, and I knew the difference was going to be worth the little extra change. But, the Dyna just felt like I had kind of, it didn't peak by any means. I mean, it was still a stock motor, but I felt like I had, let it run its course, and I had ridden it on a lot of cool rides and pushed it to its limit for as what it stood. But I know that I'm sure you're seeing it in your shop, how you're slowly transitioning to the newer Softails.
Yeah. Well, actually, the only new Softail I've painted so far is Mark's, and that was a year ago. Yeah. Yeah, man, painting actual bikes, I don't get it as much. I like mainly helmets and stuff. A lot of people, before the Softails, I would have 4 Dynas a month coming in, right? Yeah. Because people they were like, this is what I ride. There's nothing else better than this right now.
I see.
And so, like, when the new bikes came out, Dyna paint jobs stopped because people were like, okay, do I join the bandwagon on the new Softail game, or are we staying Dyna, or what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then when we were all on the fence when the Softail came out, and then as we saw they perform well, they have great features about them. So now people are jumping into them, but the aftermarket still in my opinion, hasn't picked up enough.
It's very lacking
to give the bike the look that's going to inspire people to want to customize their bikes.
Yeah.
And so until that really happens, it's going to take a while. There's a lot of cats doing it in Cali, and then there's a lot of people building them. But also right now, like kind of like the paint job you said you were thinking about doing, that's more popular on a lot of things now. So, and for guys like me, it's like, man, like I got to make a certain amount of dollars, right? Yeah. So even if it's not technical, it's not, there's somebody that could probably do that shit way cheaper than what I would have to charge for my time. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's a weird market right now for paint. And plus, I think a lot of people are in a transitional period with style that, the panel thing's starting to kind of run its course for a lot of people, or has been for a while now. Yeah. And there's not a dominant style that people are like stoked about. So that's why we're trying new things and new looks, and
it's very true, yeah.
And trying to kind of find the new swag, I guess we could call it.
Yeah, what's the new thing? What's going to be the new trend on these bikes? Yeah.
And and I don't like to sound like a guy that's like talking shit about trends, because I fell into it because I'm one of those dudes, I'll tell you straight up. Like I hated the FXRT fairing until I saw it on a Dyna. Yeah. And a picture of some dude riding it, and I was like, that could be me right there. And I was like, that inspired me to want that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I got influenced by someone through a picture that I don't even know who the guy is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that I am a visual guy. Like if I see something that looks good, like I've said before, when I was on that hot bike tour on my FXR, I was riding next to some guys, RPM Moto or something from like San Diego, and they were riding 2 of the newer style baggers. They weren't. I don't think they were twin, or they weren't twin. They were twin cams, so they were S&S motors in there. T-bars, just sick as fuck, just going down the highway, paneled out, looking dope, right? And I was like riding next to her, looking at that, and I was like, I want another Road Glide. So I ended up buying another Road Glide a month and a half after that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have no problem telling anybody like, yeah, dude, fucking, I got influenced.
I don't see why. I mean, I think anyone who says that they are not influenced is lying.
Yeah.
Because everyone's influenced, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Because everyone has someone that has done it before. There's very, very few people that are truly the innovators. They were the very first person to do it.
Well, when it comes to paint, there is nobody. I mean, everything is like it's a revolving door of like style. And what a lot of people may not think about with paint is that it's really dictated on the culture of just everything.
Yeah.
So like if you look at the style of paint that was popular in the 80s and 90s, and you look at like the culture, like the LA Gears and all this type of like, you know, the pastel colors and shit like that, that was a part of that like culture. People saw that in advertising, clothing, and things like that. So right now with performance on mind, like the race helmet stuff that I talk about quite a bit, and you know, the new Harleys with the new paint schemes on the CVOs and stuff just kind of fit the look of like it's custom, but it's not like tribal, or it's not panels. It
doesn't have a bunch of flames and shit on it. It's very minimalistic, very industrial looking. I mean,
and I wanted to actually get to this with you, but it's funny how it seems like Harley's starting to do everything right on some platforms, you know,
and then everything wrong on others.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah.
So what's the? I don't know if you've looked into this, and it might be part of y'all's notes that you already got thing, but I guess they just dropped their first quarter sales.
Yes. Yeah, we did an episode on that, I think a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And it's sales are down, profits are down, but kind of what I highlighted on the...
Yeah, I listened to that when y'all did.
Yeah, it's that there's so much shit going into those numbers. I mean, you're looking at very, very, very high level stuff. I mean, that's kind of the work I do for a financial institution. Mm-hmm. So is reporting, you know, how much money did we make? How much money did we lose? What can we do to make that? That's what I do for a profession. So knowing all of the backdoor stuff, like those numbers, you really can't base anything off of.
So would you associate the fact that like production costs are down? Like what they did with, so it doesn't cost as much to make these bikes as they did when they had all those other frames and models and shit, right? So kind of true there?
Yes and no, because you really have to look at the R&D cost. Mm-hmm. That's still going to be there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
For a completely...
So paying off that investment.
Yeah. Exactly. That new frame. You have to look at R&D that's going into the live wire. I mean, that's a decade-long project that they're still dumping money into. You have to look at, like, when you release new bikes, the amount of money that goes into the factories to retool everything. That's a huge cost. I mean, and you have to think about it, the Milwaukee 8 was just released, 3-4 years ago? So, I mean, that's redoing a motor, good God. The amount of retooling that goes into that is ridiculous. And then you have to look at outside influences like 3D printing is becoming a thing. I'm sure they're dumping money to seeing how they can be innovative with that.
Yeah.
The R&D budget is huge. It might not look huge on paper because it's spread out into so many different little projects here and there, but I can't even imagine what their R&D budget is. Not to mention, I mean, when you close down one plant like they did this year and have to, offer severance packages, that costs money. Having to move tools and equipment and all that to another plant or store it. I mean, you're talking huge freight costs, huge moving packages, all the HR time that goes into, laying those employees off or getting them severance packages or getting them moved. That's man hours, lots of man hours.
They're handing out everybody's severance package, and theirs is the last one at the bottom.
I mean, I'm sure that has happened at some point.
Well, I don't know if people have really talked about it, but one of the new things they implemented this year with the warranty issues was the computer flashing. Yeah, and I think I haven't talked to much people in the dealership. I got a couple friends that are real close up north in Milwaukee that are a little more connected. Yeah. But I know a lot of people and dealerships that were flash tuning bikes with power vision, and now they sat there and sold warranties on top of selling to the customer these programs and these items, and now they're supposed to tell them, well, you avoided your warranty. Like, I feel like that decision not only hurt Harley, but hurt all the people that have invested in Harley, not us as consumers, but all the dealerships that now have to deal with something that they had no decision. You know what I mean? Like, it's as a franchisee, it just sucks that like you keep getting dictated on how you can make money by this company, but yet you're not making that much money off this company selling this product anymore.
Yeah. The whole warranty situation, it's such legal jargon bullshit. I remember when I first got the Dyna, I was reading through the warranty. Actually, I don't even know why I fucking read that warranty, but
I wish I could get it in audio form.
Oh man.
Like an audio book.
Write an audio book. But literally what it boiled down to, I mean, very long story short, is that if anything was changed, they could void it.
Yeah.
It was such an open door, literally up to the person doing it. Yeah. If they could honor it or not. So I pretty much expect my warranty to be fucked day one, because in all reality, you change one bolt on this thing. If they wanted to, they could void it.
Yeah. So I mean, it just sucks. I mean, because I don't know. I mean, I like I said, it's been a topic of conversation on this podcast a lot, and obviously there's never been really any answers. It's just been like, you know what really grinds my gears?
It sucks. Yeah. Yeah. The dealerships, I mean, if you look at it from the point you were bringing up, is they're almost railroading their dealerships.
Yeah. And then when they implemented all their fucking selling their apparel on Amazon now, that hurt all the dealerships too. So it's almost like every little thing that the dealerships owned and had to curate money for their actual business, is being cut off. So it's like the only way that dealerships can make money now is to push the services that Harley makes money off of.
Yeah. I wonder, now that you say it like that, I wonder if that's the whole point. Because if you think about it, brick and mortar's dying everywhere in every industry. I mean, I know Carvana is a terrible example to use because their stocks have fucking plummeted. But I mean, I feel like in the future that might be what you're looking at. Go on, customize your bike
scary,
online.
Man.
It is. It absolutely is. But I mean, think of how much money Harley could save if the dealerships went away. If it was just service departments, they didn't have to worry about paying general managers and sales managers and finance guys. Like, if they could go online, customize a bike the way they want, finance it through HT Financial,
that would be so un-American.
It would be, but if you look at Gen Z, that's what they are. Yeah. Gen Z is un-American. Even most millennials are quote unquote un-American. Yeah. The less people you have to talk to, the less human interaction you have to have, the cooler your bike looks straight out of the factory. Like, I fucking hate that. Yeah. Because I mean, that's honestly why I bought the Ultra as opposed to the Road Glide Special, because I wanted to do all that shit myself.
Exactly.
And I mean, it kicked my ass having to do it all, but God damn it, there's not another Road Glide Ultra on the road that looks like this. Yeah. But that thought process is dying. That thought process is not going to be around 20, 30 years from now.
That's a weird world, but I do agree that that's where a lot of things are going. It's like everything, it seems like all the marketing, 10 years, 15 years ago, 20 years ago was all about getting a .com business going. And then it turned into, we got to make an app. And now it's like, we got to make a fucking subscription based of something, like whatever you can do to give someone that every month for minimal amount of money, but it's something you're selling for a large amount, to a large amount of people.
Quantity. Yeah.
It's like, fuck it. That's the same concept with everything. It's like, with the Patreon idea, right?
Yep.
If you have, how many subscribers you have on your YouTube? It's like,
I have 27,000 and change.
So if you have 27,000 and there was a Patreon based thing on there and just everybody gave you $1, like,
Jesus Christ.
$1
roll in that dough.
Dude, if everybody gave you just a quarter a month of that thing, that would be enough money to bankroll the things you do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, a quarter. Yeah, a quarter. For sure.
And so like, and I don't know if it's because, like maybe it's the fact that we've had social media so long and that kind of outplayed magazines. So why spend $8 on a magazine to see everything that's in the magazine online a year before it hits the magazine, you know? Mm-hmm. And so with all that stuff being free and at your fingertips, you know, and then like a lot of podcasts out there are free, you know, they're all free. I mean, this one's free, you know, so a lot of people don't feel the need to be supportive of those things. You know what I mean? And then
you really have to strike a chord with someone for them to want to give you money for a podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I even looked at like Star Talk Radio's like Patreon numbers. I'm like, that is not nearly as much as what I would think it would be.
Well, I thought Star Talk had a paywall. You get some of their content for free, but like say I wanted to listen to the Elon Musk one, and I had to be like an actual Patreon, like paid per month to get that.
Yeah, they do have some exclusive content. And they also, I don't know if you've gone on there and looked, but they have some ridiculous tiers. Like I think there's like a $4,000 or $5,000 tier where you get to like go to like the annual like dinner to like have dinner with Chuck Nice and Neil deGrasse Tyson and everything like that. And so they can put out those crazy options because they have that kind of pool. But I mean, going back to the point is, I mean, no one's going to pay $5,000 to come have dinner with me. Like that's
exactly,
So, I mean,
but do you not, like me, I get inspired with all the ideas of how to build on this community that I'm creating, right?
Yeah.
Like I think like our podcast or our camp out was a lot of listeners from all over the country, which was super humbling, man. Like super weird. Like, you know, people were giving me shit and stuff. I'm like, I'm not used to that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you want a beer? Like, I'll get it for you. Thank you. You know what I mean? But, you know, so you start looking at this thing like a community, like you're building something, and you know, things like the camp out or rides across country that you can go interact with these people becomes a much more fun thing to do. You know what I mean? And so
I feel like that's almost worth it more than the money is.
Oh yeah.
Also the experiences, like
100%. Yeah.
The amount of people that I've met because of the whole YouTube shenanigans, the amount of opportunities I've got. Like, I mean, I got to take a Road Glide Ultra to Big Bend for a whole weekend. I didn't pay a dime. That's all because I did some test ride videos for a dealership. Like it's, but that would never happen.
Yeah. I do feel like that some people out there are just hating like, oh man, I ain't gonna help this dude out. He's fucking got a nice 2019 Road Glide.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I also don't have a car. My wife takes me to work in our community car that we own. It's weird, but you know, so it's like some people are like, you know, fuck man. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I try to push the Patreon because that means I can push less for sponsors and not have to worry about it. Yeah. But you know, now that it's riding season and I'm trying to fund these trips and these things to get this content out. Like right now, it's Thursday, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not making money on the weekday, and I've been down in San Antonio since yesterday, and I've got to ride through the rain back home tonight so that I can go to work tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. Yep. You know what I mean? So it's like I have to move my schedule around to make it work with things, and luckily you were free tonight to be able to do this and shit. So otherwise I would have been fucked this whole weekend. I would have came down here and got no podcast. You know what I mean? So it's a struggle though. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, any type of, and I think the regularity of it really helps because you're getting that every single month. Say with YouTube, it can vary 100%. Yeah. I can, like, for example, like this month compared to last month, I'm up 30%, but I mean, a couple months before that, I was down 50%. So there's just no regularity. And that's when my coworkers asked me like, oh, when are you going to go, you know, full time or things like that? I was like, not knowing what my paycheck's going to be would just drive me up the fucking walls. That's why I have to keep my day job.
Dude, like, trust me, like our Patreon, like it fluctuates too. So it's like, you know, I think about December-ish, man, I was just in a dark place and I was just talking mad shit on this podcast. My Patreon went down quite a bit, and it sucked because, you know, and I learned not to bankroll on it for covering things. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, so that's why I've been trying to like take the money that we get from podcasts to put back into or to fund the podcast things that we're doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's what I've been trying to do. But yeah, it would be like, say if for some weird reason, which trust me, folks, I don't think neither one of us are close to this. Let's say we got to a point where we're making $20,000 a month, but then it fluctuates between like $5,000 or $10,000. Yeah. That's hard to kind of like trust.
It's hard to build a lifestyle off of that. Yeah. It really is. Cause I mean, for example, right after I dropped out of college, I should say, I went and started working for the railroad, and I was 21 years old, something like that. and I was bringing home $4,000 paychecks every 2 weeks.
Damn.
So it's like, fuck yeah. But they were, very adamant about telling you, like, don't go buy a new truck, don't buy new car, don't buy a big ass house. Cause the way that industry works is you could be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
You could be without a job tomorrow. And sure enough, I was actually in between buying a brand new Camaro 1LE, that car that's sitting out there, and a 2001 Firebird. The 1LE was going to cost like $42,000. The Firebird was up for sale for I think $7-8 grand. And I was sitting there, I was like, I could afford these payments, no problem, on this, expensive ass. It was brand new, custom built. Like I went out and checked all the options I wanted, but I was like, you know what? I want to be responsible. I can buy this car in cash. It's fast. It'll give me what I want. Yeah. So I bought the Trans Am. Literally less than 24 hours later, I got furloughed.
For real?
No job. I was like, fuck, if I would have bought that expensive ass car, I would have been screwed.
Yeah. That kind of a similar thing happened. No, a similar story, but not circumstances. Like, so my birthday is into September. So I bought this bike. I sold the last Dyna I had, and I was trying to find another FXR, and I couldn't find one for the price I had, the money I had. So I ended up having to take the money I got from the Dyna and dump it into this Road Glide so that way I have a bike. Literally, I bought the bike September 18th, and then my birthday's the 29th. So 11 days later, I got a letter from the IRS for an audit, right? So it's like I literally got audited, ended up having to owe like $12,000, which is not the end of the world, but I don't fucking have $12,000, you know what I mean? So I'm having to pay all that off. And I was just thinking to myself, like, man, like not only do I now have an IRS payment, but I also have a motorcycle payment that I didn't have before. So my monthly, bills went from, they went up like $600 something, you know what I mean? So it sucked, but
that's rough.
Yeah. That dude, last year was rough, man. I don't know. It was a rough year.
2018 was not your year, sounds like.
You know what's crazy? Every shitty year I've ever had, like great things happen in the year, but a lot of shitty things happen. You know what I mean? So it's almost like I don't want 2018 to not exist. I just wish certain things didn't happen in the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you either had extreme highs or extreme lows. Yeah. It wasn't just mediocre.
For sure, yeah. And and also it was a weird one because 2017 we did so much riding and traveling that 2018 was like, dude, we're going double down on this year. We're going further, and didn't even come close to the year before. And the one bike trip I tried, I actually went to Daytona last year. I rode that one. And then, of course, everybody knows the one where I rode to fucking Indianapolis and the bike got stolen. Yeah. So that was that one. And then I didn't do any more trips. I just kept it local. And then a lot of the reason why, there's a ton of reasons why I did the trip earlier this year to solo. And a lot of it was because I needed to get away. I haven't been on a trip before. I wanted to do something solo. I thought I learned a lot about podcasting on the road on that trip, and scheduling with people and shit. Yeah. Like what I just did with you today does not work. No, it does not work.
And I'll tell you, 95% of the other days that would not have worked for me. Yeah, either. You just really struck gold. Yeah. That I just happened to be able to leave early.
Exactly. So it was like, that's something I have to take into consideration for this deal. It was beneficial because I did, get to talk with a couple people. I did get to pick up the Big Bear sponsorship off of his podcast and stuff like that, and so that was helpful. Yeah, but. I also had to ride home from Van Horn to Dallas in 24 degrees, which was not good. Nope. But fucking did it. So
worth it.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. I'd like to get in contact with Big Bear. He does some good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. The one thing I've been finding about, like, I've been in the motorcycle industry for a long time. I was in the industry before I was a rider, right? Yeah. So I was working in it. And I know guys that they're young in this industry is this year to guys that were in it for 40 years before I started, right? Yeah. And a lot of the older heads have a way different mentality of being a biker than the younger guys. And it sometimes you can see where people they don't click. Like, oh, I don't like that company or I don't like that person because they're too honest or they're too like however they perceive themselves on social media or how quick they are to just cut you off or talk shit back or whatever. And it's like, man, you gotta understand, like, 10 years, or 20 years ago, some of these guys were in fucking like legit clubs doing legit club shit, and so like they're doing everything they can not to snap off and go ride to your house and beat your ass because not everybody grew up in social media and understand trolling and all that shit. So it's like, it's just, like a lot of people ask me about Von Metal, like because of all those videos that were made that he did that everybody like parodied off of it. The dude's a good dude. He's cool. Yeah. I mean, he did drop the N-word on the podcast. I thought that was pretty brave. But, it's like he's ingrained into motorcycling in a different way than what a lot of people are on social media or just in motorcycling in general. And they just, you don't understand it. You don't, it's a whole different
generation, really. Yeah. If you think about it, like the generational gap between like someone who's 40 and someone who's 22 is greater than someone who's 40 and someone who's 100.
Yeah.
Because that everything happened in that short time span of when those people were growing up, that it's a whole different ball game for those people.
I mean, think about when we're, 20 years from now, when we're sitting here talking to, these kids on these rides and we're like, we used to go to the store and buy that, you little fucking little fucker. Yeah. Now you just think about it and it shows up in the drone.
Yeah. Our bikes used to have screens where you actually had to touch, not just think about it, and it plays everything you want. Man, I start thinking about like, the things that our dads or our moms told us about, and we're like, God damn, that was ridiculous, and try to compare that to the stuff that we're going to have to tell our kids. Like, our kids are going to think that screens that weren't or phones that weren't touchscreen is barbaric.
Yeah.
Like, that blows my mind. They're going to think that screens, like TVs that weren't completely, paper thin, is going to be barbaric.
It is, dude. You just see one of those TVs every once in a while, like, whoa, what the? Oh yeah, I grew up with those.
Oh yeah, that was just a few years ago. Or like you see like a clip from like 2002, you're like, what the like, who the fuck dresses like that? And you remember, oh yeah, I dressed like that in junior high. That was me,
dude. Yeah, I think I watched a movie recently from like I watched Escape from L.A. with Kurt Russell. It was like an old 90s movie.
Yeah.
And the movie, I hadn't seen it in a long time. I mean, it was one of those movies I watched with my dad as a kid, like when I'd go to his house for the weekend and shit. And it's like, it's the man movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, God, that was special effects in 1993.
Like that was top of the line right there.
Yeah, like that shit was so bad. You know what I mean? And then, everything about it. And then you watch a movie from like 2003 and you're like, that's some pretty shitty quality movie stuff. And it's like, dude, that's not that far ago.
No.
But I don't know.
Yeah, technology just progresses so fast.
It's so weird how it's so fresh. And then like think about this, like pretty soon, like seeing something in 4K is going to be like, oh, that's shitty quality. Like how much better than reality is it going to get? You know what I mean?
Yeah. They actually said that even though they're going to keep increasing the resolution of the screen, our eyes will actually cap out before the screen technology will.
Wow.
So there will be a time where you're not going to be able to tell the difference between like 16K and 24K, even though it's got the resolution, but your eyes will not be able to perceive it. It's like, that blows my fucking mind that we're making shit that is going to be better than what our eyes can actually perceive.
Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know, man. It is weird, but it's happening so quickly that, I don't know, maybe a lot of us are connected to Harleys because it does still have that tactile, mechanical, old vibe to it.
I will say, I mean, I'm going to sound like one of those fucking old heads, but going from twin cam to the Milwaukee 8, I miss the sound of the twin cam.
For real?
That sound is just so much different. Even you can do pipes, cams, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have the same sound.
It doesn't.
And like once I actually heard like a real nice cammed out, high performance exhaust Milwaukee 8, I'm like, that just, it's not the same. It's the first time I've ever had one of those old head thoughts about Harley specifically. I'm like, damn, I almost want to like go buy an old twin cam now because it just sounds that much better.
That's exactly how the Evo guys felt, and then the shovel heads before that. And, but like you see like the kind of technology that they put in other bikes, like even the Indians and stuff, and it's just like there's simple things that like I said when I got here, it's like, dude, if I could just have Apple CarPlay in this radio, I'd be good for at least 5 years.
Yeah,
in technology wise, you know what I mean? But
like even for me, my one thing is like, just give me Bluetooth that doesn't take 5 minutes to connect.
Oh, yours does take that long.
It's forever. Those years on the 2019 is much quicker. Yeah. But goddamn, sitting there waiting. It's like, fuck. I just want to go ride. But yeah, simple little things like that. The creature comforts, as they say, would definitely make me more drawn to them.
But yeah, a lot of people were, that I know of, or Adam's pushing the Indian line. I got a couple friends. They're like, oh man, these Indians are getting so much nicer, and this, that, and the other. And I think the FTR is just a really badass, innovative bike that they're doing.
I agree. I want to ride one so bad.
I think, and I was telling a friend the other day, I was like, this is what I think they did good, right?
Yep.
They built a bike that wasn't on the market.
Yep.
Right, and they're technically own that market now.
They didn't copy Harley and try to pass it off as their own. So
what they're doing with these touring models is that they're trying to mimic what's out there, and maybe I understand it's hard. It's hard, to be an innovative person in a saturated market where something's so popular and functional, right? With this look. So how do you completely make a whole new look? And it's just like, maybe you just need to get new eyes to come in and maybe ask somebody from a completely different world to come in and go,
design a motorcycle.
We want you to design a motorcycle that can block wind and do this, and this, but we don't want you to look for any kind of
no inspiration
from it.
No inspiration within the motorcycle industry.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like we will get something new and creative. And that's one thing I was hoping with the Fat Bob. I was hoping that when they came out with the Fat Bob, they were going to make new fairings that fit the body lines and shape of the bike. You know what they did?
They fucking headlight swap.
Not only that, the lazier ones just made fucking T-Sport fairings that fit the other headlight, and it's like, dude, that looks like shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, what? Like, just try to be creative. You know what I mean? Like, if I had a little bit more energy, I would try to do it myself. But man, I fucking, I'm already trying to bang out 8 helmets a month and shit. I don't have any. I'm tapped out.
Yeah, it shouldn't fall on your shoulders in the first place. Like companies that are making, those fairings. I've seen so many companies that, for the Fat Bob specifically, they just, we'll sell a headlight conversion and you can use anything that fits on the Dyna.
Yeah,
it's like, it's not what I fucking want. If I would have wanted it to look like the Dyna, I would have bought a fucking Dyna.
And that's what,
Or I would have bought the Lowrider.
It would have been really nice if like companies would have taken that approach at designing parts for these bikes, but they're being lazy.
Yep.
And also I get it, man. They don't want to gamble. They don't want to gamble with the possibility of it being a flop, but I think they already fucking flopped. So
I
personally,
agree. And I've only found one fairing for this bike that actually matches the headlight, that actually has some sort of, it does look T-Sport / cafe racer-esque, but it's definitely different. And he's just a little bitty shop. And if you look at his Instagram, it's Doug's Customs. He's constantly just shipping out boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes. He's selling the shit out of them because he's the only person that's doing it. Which sucks because he won't sponsor me because he knows that I'm going to buy it anyway.
Yeah. He's got the market cornered.
He's got the market cornered. He's like, no.
Yeah.
You're going to give me my $600 because that's how much I know it's going to sell for.
Yeah, it's a weird one, man. It's like, I was hoping, and same thing with like the FXRT fairing. It's like how popular that is. And I don't know, my buddy and all my FXR buddies hate people putting that shit on baggers and Dynas, but
it looks
I want all you other guys to know I like it. I think it looks good,
That's actually when I was actually very in the early stages of getting a touring bike. That was the original plan, was to buy a Road King and put an FXRT fairing on it. But
yeah. Well, hell, even that little fairing that I think it's Memphis Shades makes, that's just like that clip on on the Road Glide.
Yeah,
not Road Glide, the Road King.
Yep.
That's not a bad little setup, and it's cheap, dude.
Yeah, it's very cheap.
Yeah,
that was one of the things that drew me away from the FXRT, because I think RWG is one of the only people that sell it for the baggers. And
them and TOL makes one, but the TOL one is a way, not saying anything bad about RWD.
Yeah,
but the TOL one is a much more high quality finished product.
Gotcha.
The RWD is a nice one, but the inside's all fucking rough and
gotcha.
And,
I've never
stuff
seen
like that.
Person,
and so basically the difference between them running on touring models and the other ones is they have to be made for a wide glide front end, because a wide glide front end on a Dyna is similar to what the width of a Harley or your Fat Bob or even Sport Glide is.
Yeah.
So they needed the inside to be a little bit wider to kind of,
not
clear.
look stupid.
Yeah.
First off, not look stupid, but yeah, and the clearance. But I love the look of the fixed fairing. Did you see Indian's new Raptor?
I didn't see the finish. I just saw the
spy photo
type shit.
But going back to what you were saying, it looks exactly the same.
Well, that's the same thing that like Yamaha did or Cowie did a while back. I painted one of those things. It looked just like a Road Glide, but it was a metric, and it's just, I don't know, man. Like, I feel bad, right? Because on Google, my shop they don't have custom paint shops, so I have to put motorcycle shop. So I get calls every day by some dude that bought a fucking Honda Rebel in 03, and he's like, I'm looking for someone to work on my carburetors. I'm like, I don't work on them, and good luck finding anybody that really works on carburetors anymore.
Yeah.
What? My day is, you know what I mean? Like, and then you go to these like metric dealerships, like a Honda dealership or something. Half those dudes ain't fucking with that stuff.
No.
You know? So it's like,
you got to go to a mom and pop that has a guy that's been working on bikes since carburetors were a thing. Yeah.
So it's like, it's so crazy how much different it is to have like an 03, Yamaha, whatever, and an 03 Harley anything.
Yeah.
It's like 03 Harley anything. You still have a bike that's got value and it has a demand. These other bikes, the only thing that saves their asses is like some of them get popular in the bobber culture, so that you get these guys chopping them up and turn them into bobbers.
Or cafe racers. Yeah. That's why the BMWs are starting to come back. And you hit that nail on the head. It's definitely a roll of the dice to see if your bike's gonna be worth anything.
Exactly. So it's like, it's weird, man. I feel bad for him. It's like, dude, like, you got nothing there. Like, it sucks same thing. It's like, you have something that's, if you tried to buy all the parts right now, you would spend $10,000 to buy all the shit to put this bike together.
Yep.
But you couldn't sell it for $100. You know what I mean?
Nope. Not even if it was running in perfect condition.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a different world for sure.
Absolutely.
So what you got coming up? What's riding season just now kind of kicking off for you? Or?
Yeah. We haven't really done much riding. It's been very busy weekends. We're trying to take advantage of the somewhat decent weather. We're trying to do house upgrades, fucking boring ass adult shit. But this weekend we're actually head out to the Twisted Sisters. It just happened to be on Star Wars Day, so people are calling it the Star Wars ride. I don't know about that, but
May the 5th,
May the 4th.
Right, 4th.
And so we're doing Twisted Sisters. Cinco de Mayo is what
I'm thinking the Guy Fawkes with the November 5th or whatever.
Oh, yeah. So we're doing that, and then I do an annual Father's Day ride. That's coming up in June. And then our Arkansas trip's at the end of this month, which...
So is it falling on Texas Hills weekend for you?
No, I want to say it's the weekend before, the weekend after.
Texas Hills on the 1st of June.
Yeah, so we are going to... God damn it. It'll be the weekend before is when we'll be in Arkansas. So I still should be able to make it to that.
That's cool.
And then we have our... it's actually my 3-year bike and birdie anniversary coming up on June 22nd. We're having a anniversary party out at Cowboys Harley-Davidson. It's actually a combination. So it's the Between Two Wheels first anniversary. It's my 3rd anniversary, and then it's the 2nd anniversary of the Honor Flight fundraiser. So we're doing what we call the 1, 2, 3 event. So cool. It's all the money's going to go towards the charity. We're going to be advertising for our project that we're doing called Project Clean Slate. Mm-hmm. That's the one that Roadblock talked to you about when we were up in Dallas. We're basically going to buy a bike, customize the shit out of it, and then give it away. Yeah. And that's where all of our podcast money is going to. We put all our money into the show and basically said, like, this is basically our investment. Mm-hmm. We put, a couple $1,000 into it. Hopefully we gain the audience to not only recuperate that money, but also get enough money to do this project and give away a bike. I think the only thing after that is going to be the Bring It Home ride in October.
Yeah, fuck that.
You're not doing that?
No, I'm not about sitting in lines that much. Call me un-American.
No,
I think it'd be cool if Adam did finally, get that, but... And I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I just, sitting in traffic is bad enough on a Harley.
Yeah, they hopefully, from last I've talked to him, it's been a couple months, but he said that they're going to be fixing all of that because that's really
almost what would really help is if y'all just staged everybody down a very, very long road. You know what I mean?
Kind of bumped forward.
Just everybody just park on the side of the road in a complete, parade line. And then when it's time to go, turn on the bikes and you're all moving at one time instead of leaving from a parking lot and trying to get everybody to fall together and wiggle through like these cities. And then, you know what I mean?
It wasn't actually even the wiggling that caught us. It was one fatal flaw in that whole thing. And it's because you had wristbands and you had to get your wristband. There was like a little pull off tab. You had to get that pulled off for that in order to count. And granted, I give them credit that they were trying to get them off as quickly as possible, but that's literally the same as pulling up to a stop sign and checking left, checking right, and then going. Think of how if you put 2,000 bikes to go through an intersection with a stop sign, it's going to get backed up. There cannot be any sort of blockage at the end. That was the one fatal flaw.
That's crazy.
And it took us an hour to go 2 miles. So, I mean, my head temperatures on my dyno were 378 degrees.
Damn. I'd have just turned it off and walked it.
I was turning it off every chance I got, but it was moving, like I said, just that stop sign pace. Every couple seconds you were going 3 or 4 feet.
You probably have to, I think the way to make it work is to really find an innovative way. And I guess after doing it a couple of times, you run into problems and you have to solve them. But it sucks how much money it costs to actually get Guinness out there to do that shit and whatnot. So I really hope he does end up pulling it off this time. Yeah,
I think we got the numbers, especially I'm hoping we start releasing some stuff pretty soon because, I mean, we're 7 months out now, which seems like a lot, but when you're talking about getting people from all over the country, it takes time.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and it should probably just tell everybody that doesn't ride a Harley to just not come.
Yeah.
Just so they're just out of the way.
I know it's
kind of a dick thing to say, but
it is, but it's like you guys can come to everything else.
Yeah.
I welcome all bikes to all rides, all events, no matter what. If you're on 2 wheels, come on out. But this is not the event for you. You're going to do more harm than you are good.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, if you are going to come, don't ride.
Or just sit on the side of the road and like watch people.
Yeah.
Like, look at these fucking Harley nerds trying to make records and shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, go take pictures or something. The way that they explained it at the last one, there shouldn't have been any issues with the metrics.
For real.
There really shouldn't have. If they caused any issues, it had to have been either A, super like I'm fucking this up for a reason, or they had absolutely no idea that they were messing it up.
Yeah.
Because they thought that everything had been gone through, or maybe they were instructed to go when they weren't.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I wouldn't know. But I did hear from some sources, not very credible sources, but I did hear that the metrics had all staged back behind the Harleys and that one of the event coordinators told them to go by the time everyone left the parking lot.
Damn.
I don't know if I've heard 2 stories. I've heard that people were not ready to stage, and I've heard that the bikes that were left were not able to start, which you've got experience with Harleys. You know those batteries are shit.
Yeah.
It's very likely that even 5% of the 2,000 people registered were not able to get their bike started.
Dude, 5%. I would think that many. I would say 1 out of every 3 bikes probably has issues. We're gonna, you know what I mean? Like you go on a ride anywhere, you get 20 dudes. Let's be fair. 20 dudes, there's usually 1 dude out of that 20 that is just like, doesn't take care of his shit. He probably had to push start to get it there. He's just hoping his my battery's just dead. Like instead of, no, my battery doesn't work anymore or my charging system's not working. So it's got to be a couple of those. That's
absolutely right. And to give Paris Harley Davidson credit, they were running around with a remote starter as fast as they could go. Even, I mean, I guarantee we were in the first 800 people. And even at that point, when they were staging us, they were running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to get all these bikes started. But someone would get their bike started, they would, either dump the clutch or get it turned off. And it was kind of a shit show.
You know what I've been noticing too? I mean, I kind of, I finally think I've met you at the IMS show this year, right? And it's like, I talked to a couple promoters at different events and stuff, and I can't speak for anything outside of Texas, but I feel like a lot of the things in Texas that are more the bigger events, like the rock rallies and the IMSs, and hell, even the Easy Rider show that was here. It's like, I feel like a lot of people are having a problem bridging a gap between the older generation and the newer generation and things like that. And so these events are having a hard time making it profitable to come.
Yeah.
You know, which I've always been an advocate that the more events that are here, especially the bigger ones that like bring different bikers to the table, I think it's better for us as a community of motorcycles, because then you can, you know, be influenced, you know, by different styles of motorcycling and stuff.
I think Giddy Up's a great example of that.
Yeah.
It's a very specific type of person, type of bike that goes to that. And it
is, but it isn't, right? So if you think about it, like inside the show, it's all the choppers, but you look in the parking lot and there's mine, there's everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, so yes, I guess Giddy Up is.
Yeah, because I mean, people on the road glides, on the dynos, were going in there and getting a look into that specific culture. And we talked about a little bit on the podcast, is that it kind of, you know, sparked our interest. Like, maybe we should, you know, build a rat bob, something just totally fucking rusted out and garbage and has a suicide shifter and all this bullshit just because it looks cool. Like, fuck it. And I think like the Hand Built show up in Austin has a very similar. Granted, those people are a lot more talented.
I feel like this, because I went to the Hand Built show once and I wasn't really impressed. But I feel like from the coverage and then the implement of all the flat track racing they brought into this year, I felt like it really made the whole weekend of Austin. That whole weekend, Austin was like the motorcycle capital of the world.
Really?
You had the fucking Circuit of America, the Dakota shit going on there.
Oh, that's right. That was the same event. Yeah.
You had Hand Built show, and then you had all this flat track racing going on. And I was like, holy shit, like it seemed like it was a good bridging of gaps, because there was Harley guys going. I mean, dude, MotoGP is cool as shit.
It's so cool. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because that weekend was actually the weekend I was at Houston buying this bike. And on the way back from Houston, we passed at least 300 bikes. I mean, it was every other car there's bikes. And I'm sitting there thinking like, what the fuck was going on? And then I was like, MotoGP. But I had no idea the Hand Built was that same weekend. So yeah, because I saw tons of Harleys, tons of cruisers. So I was like, I wouldn't expect the MotoGP to bring that much of a cruiser market, because I went 2 years ago and the parking lot was
I went the first year.
Bikes.
I went the first year it ever opened. The first MotoGP they did, I went that year, and I had my big wheel bagger in the parking lot.
But you were probably like one of two, maybe three.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot of big wheel baggers at that time either. It was like 2013.
Yeah,
I think it was the first year. But I mean, like, yeah, so that was probably this year. I think it was probably a good bridging of the gap of things. But you know, Hand Built show is just still super small in perspective.
In perspective, right? Yes, especially to like IMS and things like that.
Yeah, and the problem with IMS, man, it's like, dude, it's like I think those winter shows are great because it's giving us something to do. You know, some of us ride all year. You know, I mean, most of us do. But at the same time, like, there's still that it's the
fucking 20 degrees outside. I don't want to ride.
Yeah. So those winter shows, like Easy Riders was, it gives us a chance to hang out with our biker friends that, you know, we might not see every day because we're not riding bikes anymore or whatever. And this is all not true in my case, but I'm just generally speaking on a lot of people that do ride bikes. But IMS, like, could be cool. It could be really cool. It could be cool to have all those factory OEM new models to see, if they were really given the same type of credit. I mean, I know that like Bob K and the people that put on the custom show, they're doing their best, but it's not inspiring.
No, definitely not. I feel like the custom aspect of it is almost just like sprinkled in between the corporate bullshit. That's how I feel it.
It doesn't feel the same. And then it's hard. It's so expensive to get a vendor space there that you're never going to go there and you're not going to see a Texas Performance or like Texas Hills promoting their show. It's like 12 or 13, 14, $2,000 worth of fucking vendor space. And it's really hard to justify it because the diversity of the crowd is so left and right.
Yeah,
when realistically, I would almost, and I've even pitched this to Harley dealerships. I was like, what they do in California that I think is good is that Harley dealerships will actually bring in certain shops that are technically their competitors. You know, like whether it's a service or but if you think about it, like let's just say Texas Performance and Cowboy Harley Davidson, right? Texas Performance is complete service, everything right there. So that kind of hurts what them do. But some shops, I'm not saying Texas Performance does, but some shops that have those huge followings of like supporters, like say your Thrash and Supply or these other people, right? You start hosting events and bringing them to be vendors in your events, and that brings their crowd to go see them, which has also come to your place. Then people will start saying, oh, I guess this is the dealership that's cool.
Yeah.
They're the ones that get us, right?
Absolutely.
So now it's like everybody's looking to buy their fucking Fat Bob Softail there instead of wherever else. You know what I mean? So it's like, but and you tell them that, like, we don't want to bring, I mean, mind you, I think that if you just have a talk with them, like, hey man, like, can you try not to push service work? You're a motor builder, be a motor builder here, not a service guy, or whatever.
I think most shops would be okay with that too.
Yeah,
I really don't think that they would take it. I mean, especially shops like Texas Performance. I don't think he's banking off of fucking oil changes.
Yeah, it's like, it's a thing that we all want to have as a shop, like, because it's good money and it pays the bills, but it's like, I don't want to be the oil change guy forever,
Exactly. Exactly. But no, I think you brought up a really good point, is I don't see a lot of Texas shops doing that, or Texas dealers, doing that hardly at all.
Cowboy in Austin was doing it for a while when our friends, like the Texas Hills guys and my buddies that work up in Milwaukee were there. Like, they brought in guys like us, but now it's all corporate, sales, and, let's not do anything to kind of infringe on the possibilities. And I've even talked to some of my friends. I'm like, dude, you guys, Harley has camping equipment. Harley legit has camping tents, all kinds of shit, right?
I believe it.
Nobody knows it because they don't sell it, they don't advertise it, they don't put it out there. They also, if everybody remembers, is coming out with an adventure bike.
Yep.
Right?
Fuck yes, this year too. So the patent says.
Is it this year? Okay, that'd
patent
be cool.
Says we will see it this year, but that we'll see.
That's weird. It's gonna be weird seeing that motor, right? But
I'm so excited.
But you would think that, like, some of these dealerships will maybe take the effort to put on seminar, like, because I see Harley dealership parties and I'm like, this shit is fucking lame. Like, can you try a little harder, or
it's
just try?
Same 40, 50 guys in the same, little group going out there and doing the same exact. Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but yeah, doing the same exact shit every single weekend, every single quote unquote party. Yeah,
and so like in Dallas, our main dealerships. There's guys there that get it, but they just don't have the power or the control to change it. And the other thing, and same thing I said earlier, is that everything is about consistency. If you do things consistently, then it grows. And a lot of people in those dealerships, like, if you're pitching this idea to them, they want instant success off of it instead of building and investing in an idea and letting it grow with consistency.
Absolutely. It's not going to change you're not going to set up, one booth at the dealership and then everyone's going to think that that's the cool dealership now.
Yeah.
No, you're going to have to consistently have, like, maybe even a year's worth of events, see them constantly bringing out new bikes, new performance mods, things like that. You're going to start seeing that name on social media posts getting shared by big companies. All of a sudden, like I said, it freaking compounds.
Yeah, it compounds. Yeah,
you're gonna go down that rabbit hole of right now one of the big ones is Lindahl brakes. Yeah. I'm seeing that shit everyhere because
why?
Why?
Okay, because Paul was running the Instagram page before, but his lady, they have their two kids, or she has two kids, and they're grown. I say kids, but they're grown, and they run the San Marcos store, and they do all the social media stuff. And so back when I had my FXR and my bagger, you'd tag Lindahl brakes and you'd never get a repost or anything because he's a busy guy working all day.
Yeah.
And now you do it and you're getting reposts. Your shit's on their website or on their Instagram and stuff. And it's because these younger guys are playing the social media game.
Yeah.
And there's money to be made in it, man. Like,
absolutely.
People
absolutely.
Everybody gets weird. Like, dude, you don't have business cards? I'm like, no, man. Like, I don't want to hand cards out to dudes in parking lots.
Yeah.
You know what that means? That means someone's going to call me that has no fucking idea who I am, what I do, what I'm about.
Yeah.
I want you to follow me on social media. I want you to know what my brand is about, what my services are. And then when you hit me up, we're already on the same page.
Yeah.
And so, but of course, if I did what Mark did, with just, the service work or the selling of parts and things, I would do a card then because I'm not selling anything niche based. It's just, hey, I'm trying to sell as much of this shit as I can. You know what I mean?
It goes back to kind of our power and quantity talk too. Yeah. But no, I've seen, speaking of of Lindahl, literally every other post I'm seeing is someone tagging them or getting their parts in or things like that. And it's, I mean, that, like I said, compounds.
Yeah.
Compound.
You know, and that was a weird thing, that I found out about Legends, right? So Legends makes great suspension, you know what I mean? But what they did that that I didn't notice until I talked more with Big Bear and when I actually met the reps from Olin's, right? So me and my buddy Garley, we were at the Tucker show in Dallas, and the Olin's rep was there. So we went down there, we were talking to him. It's like, man, you know, and I asked him this question that I'm sure that everybody doesn't want to hear, you know, from that world. It's like, are y'all going to like sponsor anybody, or how are you going to get your shit out there? And they're like, oh, well, you know, we sell so much, we're not really worried about it, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like they don't want to be involved in the social media game, right? Yep. But then you look at like Legends, who just a couple years ago was an air ride company that invested money and started making, you know, they did have shocks before, but they really doubled down on the Revo A's and the performance of their shocks, and they made great products. And then they put them out there and put them on stunt riders. They put them on riders. They were helping out people that were in a position to do some type of influencing. We're going to use that word a lot in this podcast. And next thing you know, it becomes like this thing in your head when you think about suspension. You haven't looked in any magazine, but you think about the things that you've been subliminally, that's a hard word to say sometimes, seeing on social media. So I'm like, I guess we're going to do Legends on this. Like, where'd that come from? You know? So their marketing has been so great over the last 4 years, pushing these products, that now they're one of the forerunners of suspension simply because of playing the social media game.
Yep.
And so when we started talking about the Olin's, and when people found out the price of doing an Olin setup compared to a Legend setup, that's why Big Bear was able to push he sold so many sets so quickly, because the idea of Olin's has always been, it costs way too much money for me to afford, right? That was your first thought. You didn't know they had shocks that were cheaper, or a front suspension that was comparable to every other brand that makes shocks.
Yeah.
With more
they were a premium brand. That's why they're gold.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like weird how you could play the social media game right and be a front runner in the industry, and honestly not be able to keep your shit on the shelf. You know what I mean? So we get it, but they don't get it.
Yeah.
Some companies don't get it.
If anyone wants to invest in us, please feel free to shoot me an email. Well, if you want to put in a good word with old Lindahl over there, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I'm going to go have dinner. I'm going to say, hey, you know that Bike and Bird dude?
Yeah, you should definitely,
Where'd the name come from? I know your last name's Bird, right?
No, it's not actually. That's my incognito name. That's just what I tell everyone my last name is, so they don't know my real last name. I've had some internet freaks that have taken pictures of my house and shit like that, so that's why I try to stay as anonymous as possible. That's that YouTube shit, man. It is.
That's YouTube. People are crazy.
Yeah, I had a guy literally post a video with timestamps of how he figured it out and how he found out how I work, where I worked at, and so all my shit's pretty locked down.
That's crazy.
But no, the channel name actually came from when I was very first starting the channel. Going back to actually that Trans Am. Trans Am is a Firebird, and the channel was originally supposed to be half bike, half car. Mm-hmm. But I got so heavily involved in the bike that the car never really came onto the channel at all. I don't think I ever even showed that Trans Am on the channel whatsoever. But I was in college for marketing, and one of the big parts of it was alliteration. So, having those syllables that either rhyme or kind of, type stuff, like Polly the Parrot. So that was just kind of something I ran with, was Bike and Bird. And I put the bird on the logo just so it wasn't just a Sportster with a circle, and just kind of had to fucking stick with it.
That's cool. Yeah. Isn't it weird? Like for me, I feel like there's certain aspects of marketing that I feel really good at. But then there's other things, like when I talk to people that are legit, have education in marketing, they're like, oh, like you just said, the speech part of it. And I'm like, I don't know shit about that,
There's so much stuff that I learned in just my brief time. Like colors are a huge thing, like what certain colors do to the brain, placement.
Well, I remember that with like McDonald's and the red and gold.
Red and gold makes your metabolism spike. That's why every single fast food company has either red or gold. You look into product placement, where on what side of the store it's in when you walk in. That's why the drinks are all the way in the back of the store at the convenience store. So you have to walk all the way because that's the most popular item. You walk all the way through the store, walk all the way through it. That's why all the gum's at the front because it's the cheapest. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to eat something. I might need something after. There's so much stuff that goes into it. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. So when you think about like how complex marketing and advertising is as a whole, and then you look at like what they do now with, you know, listening on our phones and throwing ads up and shit, it's like, it's such a huge industry.
Yeah.
Such a huge, I mean, it's got to be one of the biggest industries there is.
Absolutely.
You know?
That's why, I mean, why else are, you know, you listening to advertisements every 30 seconds on even internet radio now? It's gotten just as bad as regular radio.
And that's the weirdest thing. I always ask people this. Yeah, I remember back in the day, like in the 80s, not that I was very aware of much, but cable television, you used to pay for it so you didn't have commercials. That was kind of like the thing. It was like you're paying into something to not have commercials, and then you get this, like, you don't have to deal with like the regulations of whatever the powers to be to kind of regulate stuff, right? So you get
talking about like HBO, Showtime, stuff like that. Yeah.
So then next thing you know, like all these other like channels come along, TNT, USA, fucking all this stuff, right? And they all got commercials. And like, dude, why am I paying $150 a month for these commercials?
Yep.
You know, and then when the fucking DVR thing came around and people did that, and now with streaming, and that's changed it. So now there's really no way to advertise, advertise in the TV world now to say that you're getting your money's worth.
No.
You know?
No, it's got to be, everything's going to online, which is great for us because that just means that it's coming closer to our platforms. But
wouldn't you also say it's like more individual, like companies now they don't have a big bucket to throw their money in anymore like they did with TV and radio.
Yeah.
Now they have to have a team to target research the places they want to put their money in the plate, which people have to understand. That's how a lot of people make a living, is that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a billion dollar, $1 trillion industry, right? Well, think about how many people live off that shit. So why don't get mad because us motorcycle, you know, podcasters and YouTubers and shit are trying to get paid too. You know, just be happy that we're still buying bike parts with that money.
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely. And the crazy part about it is thankfully I haven't had to do much, but for the company I work for, I have had to do some sort of marketing analysis. And going back to your point, that big pot thing is actually a blessing in disguise, because even though that you're paying that person to do the research and, you know, find what market's going to give them the best money, the return on that investment is higher than it's ever been because of, like you said, the related searches on your phone. Like, for example, we were talking in our podcast group about one of the sponsors we're about to bring on. Never heard of this company in my life. I search them for 5-10 minutes to see basically like if I'm even interested in getting products from them. I've seen 7 of their ads in 24 hours.
For real?
All of it just related searches. They knew what links I had clicked, what it even is popping up on what page that I looked at, what page I spent the most time on. Yeah. So this is my question about that type of marketing though. To me, that's like our version or our generation's telemarketing. Like it's force fed. You know, I don't really like it. You know what I mean? It's almost like I didn't want to, you know, every once in a while, like something will come up there. Like, I wouldn't even say that. I've never bought anything that's popped up or been a sponsored ad. I don't mind seeing a sponsored ad on Instagram from like a company that's trying to get their brand out there, you know, which is, I guess, the same thing, but like something related to the motorcycle or the custom paint world that I'm already interested in. But, you know, like I was looking at the new Trailblazer that just came out this year, I guess, from Chevy, and now I can't fucking not see it everywhere. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of over it now. You know, thank you. No, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a fine line between force feeding and, like you said, those related searches. Yeah. Like, for example, I follow like a bunch of space and science stuff, and then I'll get, you know, recommendations for like, I just bought a shirt the other day. It had Einstein's face with the black hole in it. I was like, that's fucking cool. So of course I'm going to buy that. It's like a $35 t-shirt. It was way too expensive.
Yeah.
But like you said, those related searches are going to be a lot more beneficial than, for example, that one I was talking about the other day is I clicked on that product. I obviously didn't buy it for a reason. And now you're going to force feed me the same ad 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. So, but I think that word of mouth is something that we have kind of lost. But I think that maybe some people, when it comes to marketing or advertising or as a consumer, that like sometimes I do want someone's opinion about it. I want to be able to trust somebody and go, okay. And that's one thing I learned about Mark. And I've always been this way too, is like Mark is going to give you the honest truth about a product, Texas Performance. And I'm the same way, but I'm just also being honest about my experience with this thing. And,
Absolutely.
It's almost like you can't just send me an exhaust system. I'm going to put it on my bike and tell everybody it's great.
Yeah.
It's the best thing ever. And no. I'm going to be like, well, I like the way it looks. That's why I accepted this deal. And then get on the bike and it just didn't perform. But I probably wouldn't, I don't know. Like maybe this is bad too, but this is what I was thinking is like, if something I just did not like, I would almost just be like, hey man, this is just not working. Let's just not even bring it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If someone specifically was to go, hey man, what do you think about this thing? I was like, oh man, I tried it. It just wasn't for me. I didn't like this part. But would I make a public fucking, bash thing about it? I don't know if I would do that.
I think that there's a very fine line on how to do that correctly. And I think that's one of the reasons that people kind of gravitate towards my product reviews is because I am able to take as much of an unbiased approach as possible. Mm-hmm. I'll give everyone, I won't tell everyone exactly, my full blown thoughts, but I'm going to give you all the information that I was able to get from this review and let you make your own thoughts. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to say like, man, this helmet's, the loudest fucking thing on the goddamn earth. I'm like, this helmet is louder than this helmet, but it's not so terrible that, I can't hear X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the data and let you analyze it yourself. For example, my stage 1, obviously it's no fucking, mystery that the Vance and Hines stage 1 tune is the most powerful tune on the world. Like, that's obviously not the truth. But instead of, just blabbing that and, saying, oh, you should get this, and this off of just blind bullshit, I did a stock dyno, showed you the numbers, put it on, ran it without the tune, ran it with the tune. The numbers are going to speak for themselves. Yeah. I have to give zero opinion at that point.
That's good. Yeah.
You get to see everything. Now, of course, with other products, you're not going to get that, that convenience of just having the numbers to throw down, but you can still kind of do it in the same.
I think the most common question I get asked when it comes to motorcycle related shit is type of bars, bar height, seat, and helmet. I'm like, okay, those are the 3 things that I can't answer for you.
Fucking hell.
But
Seriously.
The other thing about like some brand, like something else that's cool about the market that we're in now is that you can really create this cult following like Harley has with people that are like I want thrashing shit, or I want San Diego custom shit, or I want XYZ, whatever. I'm a Simpson guy. I'm a Bell guy. I'm a this guy. Or, you know what I mean? There's so many brands that you can become tribal with, and it's and then you got your people out there that just want to talk shit about it and stuff like that. Like, oh fuck, the Simpsons are loud. Fuck them. They're nowhere near as good as Bells. And it's like, I bought a Bell because I wanted to have an opinion about it.
Exactly. And that's why I'm a helmet whore.
Yeah, same thing.
Because when I got my Simpson, I was able to say, well, this is better than Bell in this or worse than Bell in this.
So right now, so my favorite helmet still to this day is the Ghost Bandit, right? So I'm gonna give you. This is my first time ever doing a product review. I'll do it right now.
Oh shit! Exclusive.
The Ghost Bandit, I've literally put probably 40,000 miles on the Ghost Bandit.
Yeah.
I think right now I got the most mileage on the Mod Bandit too. I think I'm 13,000.
Yeah, I would say so.
So, and then I bought the Bell, and I did the Bell trip. I rode to Austin with it and did all the hill country, and then I did the Talamina trip.
Was it the Eliminator?
No, I did the Bell Star.
Bell Star, okay.
All right, so I didn't do the Eliminator, which is I think probably a more relative price to the mod or the
they're within I think $50.
Yeah. So the Star is actually $100 more, right?
Okay.
So first off, like the quality of the where you. So I'm stuck at this. See,
You're trying to pick those words.
I'm
really
trying
carefully.
to pick them. Yeah, I think that the Bell has way better ventilation for the summertime.
Okay.
So I'm an all year rider dude. So, you know, and I've also ridden my Ghost Bandit in 120 degrees. I also didn't want ventilation on because that 120 degree heat.
It's hotter. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like it's kind of a catch-22 there, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's like I can't say that I like the ventilation or not. Like the helmet, the Ghost does ventilate, but it's cool because when you open the Bell, it has vents and you can literally feel the air going across the top of your head. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, for a summer riding, you
The
know,
Eliminator does the same thing.
yeah. Doesn't the Eliminator have the holes in the
It does
top?
have the holes in the top, but one thing I pointed out in my review is the way that they're angled, it doesn't force air in; it sucks air out. It's creating that vacuum across the top.
Yeah,
So
and I guess that's the way the Simpsons are supposed to be too, with the way those little vents are on the top.
on the back. Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like I think that also the Ghost Bandit's, you know, 450. I fucking suck at this. Dude, just buy whatever the fuck you want, man. Like, goddamn.
there's no way. I mean, it's like people say, "Oh, what bike's better?" And be like, if one bike was better than the other one, we would have one bike to choose from.
Yeah, exactly.
Road Glide, Street Glide. I mean, that's one of the big ones. Like, oh, which one's better? Fucking go test ride them.
Yeah.
Like, you have people that will live and die by the Batwing. You've got people that will live and die by the fixed fairing. I can't tell you what you like. I can influence you to pick one or the other, but I have nothing in it at that point. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're, you know, it was easy for me to pick the Road Glide because after riding for so many years and being around so many street glides, Road Glide was always the ugliest bike until the big wheel thing came along and it kind of made it appealing. And then, you know, still to this day, there's just so many Batwing fairings on the market. Like that fairing has been so similar to the same thing for over 20 years now. 30 years almost now.
going on 40. The first one popped up in the early 70s.
That's right. So, I mean, that fairing is just so, I don't want to say played out in a bad way, but I've just seen it so much that there's no inspiration to me. Plus, I came from a sport bike background, and the Road Glide had the fixed fairing, of a feeling of like, I don't know. I just
feels like a fucking spaceship. That's what I describe it as. Like, I rode, the first bagger I ever rode is my dad's Ultra Limited Classic. And I was on a CBR at the time. I'm like, this bike is fucking shit. Like, I hated Harleys because of that bike. I'm like, this thing feels like a road sofa. It's heavy. Like, I feel like I'm in a car. Like, this sucks. And then I rode my buddy's Road Glide. I'm like, this is a completely different experience. It is night and day between the two. And I think that you have to experience that. I can't just tell you that it rides better than one way or the other. You have to go out there and see it, because there's people that like having that weight kind of lean into the bike when they turn. Yeah, I can't fucking stand it. I like having my wheel free of the fairings. So
yeah, and that's why, like, whenever you see people like on the parts trader pages, one of the most common things you're going to see is helmets, seats, and bars on there. Yeah, you know, because dude, I tried seats before, and my ass just doesn't fit in certain seats, and I don't like it. You know.
That's one thing that actually drew me to those Clockworks handlebars. I actually had to explain it to someone on my comment section. Like, I don't get why the fuck you would buy adjustable bars. Like, you're going to be, you know, taking out tools and adjusting them every time you stop. I'm like, no, that's not the fucking point. The point is you're going to spend, you know, $400 one time and have a 80 to 90% chance that they're going to be exactly where you want them. Yeah. You've got so many points of adjustability. You're not going to have to go through, you know, 3 or 4 bar installs. People do that. People will buy bars, not like them. That's what we give Roadblock shit for all the time. He's on his 4th pair of bars in like 6 months. Like, he can't find one that he likes. So with that, I mean, as long as you get the height somewhat close, and I guess maybe the width, you do have some play in the width. Other than that, you've got adjustable points on every single part. So you might spend maybe, I mean, $400 for bars isn't that bad, especially when you look into customs.
Well, if you're looking at like the ape hanger market, then it's that, or if you're doing like a bar and riser market, that's, you know, I don't like bar and riser things. Like a lot of people like the, you know, I want some hard case risers and a Lucky Days or thrashing, you know,
flat bar.
moto bar. I was like, man, I just don't like that stuff. I like just a solid mounted bar personally, and I don't really have any. I don't have any like grand wizard reason why. Yeah. You know, other than the first Dyna I ever built and rode, I had Forbidden on there with the gold bars, and then the gold faded off to silver within like 3 months. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, it sucks.
I don't know.
I liked I think mine comes from the Dyna because I didn't want the clamp and riser because I didn't want the clamp. I wanted it bolted directly to the triple tree.
Yeah.
Now with these baggers, I'm assuming yours is not bolted straight on.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay. Well, I didn't go that route on this one just because I didn't want to have to fucking go through all that nonsense. But
it's actually simple, but yeah, it's a much more complicated setup.
yeah, it's a little bit more expensive too.
Yeah, well, it's actually cheap if you. So those are West Coast T-bars, right?
Okay.
And you literally, those bars are 14-inch bars, 14-inch rise, and you buy them. You can literally throw all the cables through there without depinning them.
Yeah.
You don't have to extend the cables or the wires. The hardest thing about putting those bars on is drilling the holes through the gauge.
Yeah, that's
it.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it's a direct bolt on. All you're buying is the bars, and the bars are $250 to $350.
Yeah.
But
I didn't want to relocate speedometer. That was my big thing.
Stock. You can't see it that well, but it's there.
Oh, so you just drill out a hole for it.
Yeah,
you don't actually relocate.
It clears the thing.
Gotcha,
So
okay.
the reason I've always stuck with those bars in the last 2 baggers I've done is I like it to look as clean and original as possible. And if you were to get rid of the shroud that holds the gauge and everything, it just exposes the triple tree. And for me, I look at the interfering. That's the interior of my car.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing I see the most. And so I kind of want everything to look like it's in place or it's, tidy, as
Clean.
opposed to like, I don't want to see the triple tree and then see like, a fucking little valley where like it rained on me and now there's some dirt in the corner of the billet spot. Like, I don't want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's just, I don't know, there's certain things, but like I said, I also sit behind that fairing a lot, man. So,
You're looking at it quite a bit.
but yeah, I don't really, the hardest part about it is seeing the gauges 100%. Sometimes, I have to look over to the right just to kind of look around the bar to see if I'm in neutral or not. Other than that, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. I was thinking about going T-bars, but either the relocation or blocking of the gauges as well as the screen was a big thing because
with it all with this stuff becoming so much more popular on the road glides and the baggers now. I think that the aftermarket is going to continue to grow and like products are going to become more cooler and maybe even more, innovative in a sense.
Yeah.
Because this shit's so fucking like, I don't know. I say it's big because I follow a lot of people in this world. So that's all I see on Instagram all day, but it might just be like 8 of us doing it or some shit, It's really hard to determine sometimes.
We're just locked in an echo chamber telling each other how badass we are.
Dude, we're so like
fucking innovators.
We're the Harley guys on South Park growing in town.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean, fuck. I bought a bike with a tour pack, and now 3 of my 4 friends now run tour packs.
Oh, fucking influencer, dude.
Granted, they all got it aftermarket, but fuck, once they saw how nice it was for me to pull up to a restaurant, throw my helmet in there, lock it, and walk in, they're like, oh fuck, they're sitting there trying to find a table to put their helmets at and shit.
I think someone was asking me at the camp out, like, man, like, you ever get, what do you do whenever you go somewhere? Where do you leave your helmet? Because my helmets are always painted up and shit. I'm like, dude, I usually go places where I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But the only time I did go somewhere recently where I was like, I don't like to be the guy to bring a helmet into a restaurant. It just feels like, what's that movie Hall Pass where he's like, one of the dudes is like, he walks into a restaurant with a helmet and he's like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, dude, chicks love guys that ride bikes. So I just felt like that was like my way of like being like,
I'm the biker. Yeah.
Hey guys, like, look at me.
That's essentially what that helmet said.
Yeah. But I found I don't know, man. Like I usually don't go places where I can't take it in or where I'll be worried about it. So it's pretty good, Like I was just at this airbrush convention thing going on right here, and so it felt a little like weird going in there with my helmet, and everyone's like, "Oh, dude, fucking love that helmet." Blah blah blah. I was like, I didn't want them to think that I was bringing it in to show it off.
Yeah.
It was more like I brought it in because
it's expensive.
The bike's in the parking lot of downtown San Antonio, and
it'll get yanked.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I've always felt like it's the same concept when you have like when I used to go to a lot of concerts, I never wore band I was going to see shirts.
I'm the same way.
I was like, I don't want to be that fucking dude. Like, I'll buy a shirt and I'll wear it to another concert. Like, I'll go into a Tool concert with like a, you know, I don't know, fucking anything else but a Tools t-shirt or some shit, you know?
I'm the same exact way. If you buy the shirt, you just throw it over your shoulder. And I'll wear it some other time.
It's always weird. Like, I go to Texas Hills or something and they're selling the shirts for the show there and there's like people wearing them already. It's like, did you just come with no shirt on or some shit?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. See that at like MotoGP. People buy the event shirt and throw it on. It's like, what the fuck you doing?
Dude, I gotta hurry and put it on. I want to be like, I want people to know that I'm into this, you know?
Yeah. This is me. This is what I do.
I think it's all a reflection of how self-conscious I am about everything in my life.
Absolutely.
That I have thoughts like that. You know what I mean?
Like a lot of people, like, it's funny, like a lot of people won't wear their own merch. Like that's one of their things. That's one of the douchier things I do, for sure.
I do it 100%. Yeah.
But it's funny because we were at dinner one night and with one of our coworkers she's a part-time, I wouldn't say part-time. She does a lot of music stuff and she does it with a lot of, you know, well-known people. She's up there in the music industry, but she's trying to start her own project and kind of branch off and things like that. And I'm the type of person that if you leave me alone, I'm gonna leave you alone. But if you fuck with me, I'm gonna make you cry. Yeah. And granted, she had a little bit of alcohol and everything like that. And I was wearing this hat right here. It's a Bike and Bird hat. And she was like, he wears his own merch. I'm like, don't you have like 400 followers on Instagram and you pay someone to manage that? like that. And then everyone's like, oh fuck, like. I mean,
it's funny.
Don't throw stones, you know? Like, don't try to make me feel self-conscious about something that, you know, I worked my ass off to achieve. And I'm sure you kind of have that same.
I think that, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe if we had like a clothing company, maybe it'd feel a little weird. Like,
I guess that makes
like
sense,
what if, like, I ask my brother this all the time. I was like, dude, so does it not feel weird? Like if you come pick me up in your car and we're driving somewhere and you put your own music in, it's awkward for me.
It's weird. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I was like, can we just like watch porn on the TV or on the
It would be less awkward.
Yeah.
Unless it's a porn that he made. Then it'd be really awkward.
Dude, nice stroke, man. Like, you gotta teach me that. But yeah, it's super weird. It's like, man, like if I was a musician, you know, but I don't know, because like I think like it's probably the same way. Like I post my work online to show people that. Yeah. And I do sometimes stare at it. Like sometimes the bike will be there, but I'll take a picture of it and I'll look at it in the picture and try to assess it from that view of like when I do paint jobs and stuff. Sometimes, and it's just subconscious. It's like, I think that if I can make it look good on the phone, then people, when they see it in real life, it's going to be the same thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, oh man, that thing look way better in pictures. You know what I mean? Yeah. But,
I always get the opposite. I'm like, oh man, this thing looks so much better in person. I'm like, well, that just means I suck at videography.
Yeah. Shit, man, we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, we've been talking
for a close. While. So, yeah, I gotta be in San Marcos in 30 minutes.
Good fucking luck. You better haul ass.
Yeah, Fast Life Garage. Looking for sponsors.
You're gonna get a little wet too.
Fuck me.
Just a whole lot of green.
Is that on 35 too?
No, if you hurry, you might beat most of it. But
damn, I'm supposed to stop in San Marcos and eat dinner.
Yeah, you won't get wet.
Fuck, man. I wonder if that storm is just gonna pass by though. It's not gonna.
No, it's been sitting there all day.
For real? Fuck.
Yep.
Anyway, bud. Thanks for doing this, man. It's fun.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Tell everybody where you watch your channels and stuff.
You can look up my YouTube channel, youtube.com/bikeandbird, or you can just go to bikeandbird.com. I've got links on there, and you can check out the podcast of a note-having podcast. Yeah. At Between Two Wheels. The two is spelled out TWO.
Cool. Well, fuck yeah. Have a good time. We'll talk to y'all later.
Yes, sir.
Hope you guys enjoyed that podcast with Justin from Bike and Bird. He's a great dude, as you can tell. Anyway, I also want to thank all our sponsors, Texas Performance MC. Check him out on Instagram and on Facebook and at his website, texasperformancemc.com. I also want to thank John Jessup, Dream Rides, teamdreamrides.com. Don't forget to use Fast Life at checkout to save 10%. And I also want to thank BigBearPerformance.com. Give Kevin a call. Let him tell you everything you need to know about this suspension. 909-478-7788. Also want to thank PaintHuffer.com, PaintHuffer Metal Flake on Instagram. And don't forget to give our page a follow, the Fast Life Podcast, as well as go to our website, fastlifegarage.com, and check out that Patreon link and sling us $1. And we'll keep pushing this to make you holler. So stupid. Anyway, you guys have a good week. We'll be back soon.